Part 16. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 151. Why do you look at me like that? Wayne spun around in a circle. I don't have any clothes on me, how could I possibly hide the stone slab? You can hide things without clothes. Your statement doesn't hold water. Okay, you're being unreasonable, aren't you? I'm going to find a rock. You can try hiding one. Wayne kicked the rock at his feet, the size of a fist, and asked Kerr to give it a try. Kerr lowered his head and said nothing. He had only heard of that kind of Tibetan method and had zero practical experience, so he would not demonstrate it. Let's go, stop squatting. I'm going to change clothes, and you go find a car. Silent Hill is not safe. People from the Church of Death will come at any time. Let's get out of here first. Wayne carried Mona and walked toward the dormitory. Kerr stood up holding the big tree, grinning in pain, and complained, "Why don't you ask me why I lay down, and what kind of dangerous battles you and Mona went through to protect me? As long as you live, why do you care so much? I just want a cup of steaming milk right now." Wayne drifted away. Half an hour later, Mayor Wells was stuffed into the trunk, and the car drove away from Silent Hill and headed straight for Eclipse Town. The mayor's mansion. The three of them did not go to the hotel. Kerr's magic power was severely exhausted, and Mona's mind was exhausted and she fell into a coma. In case there were minions from the Death Church, they chose to spend the night at the mayor's house in the dark. It was dawn the next day. Wayne was full of energy after only 4 hours of sleep. His vitality was strong and his need for sleep was getting smaller and smaller. If this trend continued, after he was promoted to the Golden Mage, only 1 hour of sleep a day would be enough. He took out the account book buried under the crooked neck tree. Fortunately, the car parked next to the hotel was not driven away by the local gang. When I returned to the mayor's house, I saw the long-awaited Mona. "Are you awake so early?" Wayne closed the car door and said hello in surprise. He cheated every time he was indecisive. He had never experienced mental exhaustion. According to the symptoms described in theoretical books, he knew that this was a very painful process and the plot was seriously life-threatening. Mona's mind was nearly exhausted twice in a short period of time, and she became full of energy after just one sleep. The holy light magic indeed had its merits. "Want to?" Mona stepped forward quickly and grabbed Wayne's arm. She looked as excited as if she had seen an idol, and was afraid that he would run away if he let go. She lowered her voice and said, "Bruce, you are an angel who came to the world, right?" "Ah, this." Wayne was stunned by this unprovoked question, whether he was Bruce or not. He was still in the Schrödinger state, and it was difficult to make a conclusion before opening the blind box. No matter what Mona says, he won't admit it anyway. But what does an angel who has descended into the world mean? Akito doesn't tell secrets. With his flexible moral bottom line, even if he is an angel, he is still an angel who has fallen into the world. Advent is not the right word to use. Wayne looked at Mona with a retarded expression on his face. "First of all, I'm not Bruce, and secondly, I'm not an angel. If I go back to sleep before I wake up, look at you, you're talking in your sleep. It's useless if you don't admit it, I've seen it all." Mona suppressed her voice. "When you saved me, I saw the wings and the eye of judgment. You are exactly the same as the angel described in the Bible." "No way. Wouldn't it be too evil for your archangel to act like this?" Wayne blurted out, then clenched his fist and coughed, and said seriously, "Mona, I don't know what you saw. Based on your mental state at the time, I seriously suspect that you were hallucinating. Listen, you are just too empty. Go back to sleep once you wake up, give your friends a chat and fall in love a few more times and you won't have random thoughts." Mona ignored Wayne's nonsense and said seriously, "The image of angels is not static. The initial appearance of angels was very scary. As times changed, Angels gradually became the gentle and friendly images they are now. Mona explains to Wayne why the angel's image changes. Initially, the image of an angel is defined by itself, that is, the true appearance of an angel, which has a sacredness that makes people awe and fear. Later, the influence of the Heavenly Father Church declined, and its control over the chosen continent was far less than it once was. The image of angels began to be defined by the world. The world put their fantasies of all things holy and beautiful on angels, and only then did they have the current human-shaped wings. That is not ugliness, that is majesty, the first and most sacred life. Wayne was speechless. He had been lucky enough to see the appearance of the ancient God. If someone asked what the first and most perfect life in the world looked like, it would probably only be the appearance of the ancient God. Life is evolving, and different beliefs have different directions of evolution. Wayne alone knows about elves, giants, dragons, skeletons, angels, devils. The Holy See of Heavenly Father was and is the most powerful religious force in the past. It must have seen ancient gods. As angels are the highest level of evolutionary sequence in heaven, it is reasonable to refer to ancient gods in their existence form. Can't angels be evil? Angels do not necessarily have to be very holy. This is just the wishful thinking of ordinary people. Bruce, admit it, you are an angel. Mona held Wayne's wrist tightly and said every word. I'm Wayne, not Bruce, and I'm not an angel. You found the wrong person. Wayne shook his head. His collision with the angel was purely accidental, and he advised Mona not to waste any more time. Mona didn't believe it. What she saw with her own eyes couldn't be false. She tried her best to persuade Wayne to admit his identity. This was a good thing and not embarrassing. There are no angels who touch nuns' butts. Devils are more or less the same. You really think too much. Wayne said no more. No means no. Windsor is a society ruled by law, at least on the surface. It has a complete set of procedures. Talking nonsense without evidence is slander. He took out the account book and put it in Mona's hand. The mayor is in the trunk. These are evidences. Let Kerr take them back to London and deal with them. Please rest assured, I will definitely supervise him to complete the task. Mona took the account book solemnly, and her serious look seemed to be on a pilgrimage. Wayne rolled his eyes. Religion makes people stupid. The guy in front of him is hopeless. He turned and walked towards the car, and found Mona following him like a little tail. He said unhappily, Pagan, I'm going to G&E County Base. You can see that I am the pastor of the Natural Church. If I were really an angel, I would not join the Natural Church. Please rest assured, I won't tell anyone. Mona said she understood. Just like Bruce was undercover in the Thousand Eyes Demon Base, the angels were undercover in the Natural Church to prepare for the Holy War. Okay, as long as you are happy. Also, don't use honorifics. Although we are not familiar with each other, we are barely friends. Just call me boss. Wayne closed the car door, refused to go with Mona, stepped on the accelerator, and drove to G&E County to check in. Mona looked at the car going away, wanted to follow it, but was afraid that the master would be angry. After thinking about it, she decided to contact the Archbishop first. The mission was completed, she found the angel. Because Bruce equals Wayne equals angel, the title of master immediately became sacred, unlike some time ago, when shame was mixed with a little excitement of breaking taboos. The car left Eclipse Town. Wayne took out the white dove from the gentleman's hat, confirmed that there was no little tail following, took out the map and detoured to Silent Hill. It's time to settle the harvest. It was noon, and Wayne was carrying a suitcase, shuttling through the uninhabited mountains and forests like a fugitive. The sealed book was lost in the wilderness by the portal. He took a lot of effort to find the coordinates and the 4 rings. Fortunately, he was quick at that time, otherwise he would have lost them outside again. Wayne returned to the car, took out a clean piece of clothes from the trunk and put them on, and greeted the task settlement with a full spirit. First of all, there are 4 rings, which store a large amount of elements. They are the accumulation of the headless night for many years. If they are released at one time, they are enough to fill 3 Parises. Because of the impact on the obelisk seal, the 4 elements in the rings were consumed by 1/3, and now they can only barely fill 2 Parises. This is still a very exaggerated number. It is far inferior to the gray space of the Free Mage Alliance, but it is more stable than the elemental space of the Lord of the Void with a crushing advantage. One is heaven and the other is earth, and there is no comparison at all. If Wayne got 4 rings in the hexagram stage, he would not have to blacken the elemental space to complete the transformation of the essence of life, and the Lord of the Void would not die. Lord of the Void? Wayne silently recited the other party's name, as well as Sebastian and the Death Knight. One must not forget his roots. These are his destined nobles, and they must be pulled out and whipped repeatedly. Wayne's chest tore open a crack, and he threw 4 rings into it. He agreed with the Book of Greed to split the profits 30% and 70% respectively. This time he wanted 70%, and he would split the profits 50% with the Book of Greed after finding the ancient silver coins. After being promoted to the Silver Cross, his life essence was further amplified. In addition to the faith of the 5 goddesses, the demand was definitely not enough for 4 rings, and the ancient silver coins must be taken back. Wayne looked at the Book of Seals. The 4 rings were only a small profit, and the obelisk slabs were the big ones. He believed in the eyes of the devils, and the slabs were definitely treasures. Sebastian said that once the slabs left the Book of Seals, other slab holders would see me. Wayne frowned. When he stared into the abyss was also staring at him. This operation was very reasonable, just like raising a goo, and all the slabs would eventually return to one place. Wayne thought he had some strength. Without borrowing the Death Knight vest and without integrating the Book of Greed, he could compete with the Golden Mage. The legendary mage was probably in a tough situation. He was at a very high level and had mastered a lot of knowledge. With his ability, he might have been locked up in a small dark room before he even met the other party. The treasures of heaven and earth belong to the virtuous. Treasures are only for the strong. Assuming that someone has found other stone tablets, they are at least at the legendary mage level. You must not open the sealed book in London. Wayne set a bottom line for himself, carefully opened the sealed book, touched the obelisk stone tablet with his fingertips, and closed the sealed book after 5 seconds. He started the car without saying a word and drove towards Gyeonggi County at the fastest speed, with ecstasy and helplessness on his face. The good news was that when he touched the stone tablet, his mind entered a world like the gray space, with thunder and storms roaring, and the homeless villagers were full of sorrow, eagerly waiting for kind people to accept him. Book of Greed, I'm here. In 5 seconds, as soon as the Book of Greed reached out, Wayne closed the door. He was helpless because he sensed another slate holder, very close. If he felt right, the other party was in London. Wayne didn't know who the holder was. The hazy feeling was more like the slate was in a sealed state, and the sealing effect was not as good as the seal book provided by the devil. A wisp of breath leaked, allowing him to locate the other party. He could only locate in London, and it would be impossible to be more accurate. London is so big, where can I find it? Wayne complained, and then realized that he was inflated again. What if he found it? It was not certain who the hunter was. What if the other party was fishing for law enforcement? Wayne analyzed the pros and cons he hid in the dark. As long as he didn't move the stone slab, the other party would definitely not find him. He took the initiative. This initiative was very passive. The Book of Greed was very hungry. Let Wayne open the seal again. 10 seconds, 10 seconds will do. Even if it's not for himself, he should think about those homeless fellow villagers. There are fellow villagers when there is trouble, and there are troublemakers when there is no trouble. Wayne rolled his eyes and rejected the temptation. However, the book of greed is himself. If he can refuse the temptation, the book of greed will not be the book of greed, but the book of generosity. Let him be generous, it's better to kill him directly. Wayne briefly rejected the temptation. He knew very well that it was not the voice of the book of greed, but he himself was longing for the obelisk, the four elements and the storm thunder. His patience was the limit, and he would reach out to the other party sooner or later. If we can't open the sealed book in London, then we can only do it in G&He County, no, in Eclipse Town. Wayne analyzed the strategy while driving. First, he concealed his existence, and then read books to gain knowledge, determine the plan, go to G&He County to punch in every week, and open the sealed book once every 7 days. Although it is still a bit risky, he has made up his mind, and no one can persuade him. If he doesn't use it, the stone tablet will be taken for nothing. Wayne can tolerate it, but the people of the Church of Death who offered the stone tablet can't tolerate it. If they know it, they will definitely die with their eyes wide open. Even if he smiles in the grave for them, he must use it. And the stone tablet of London, if I can get it, I can open the sealed book openly. As a sovereign country, Windsor's intelligence agency has been criticized in various ways, and has created many classic jokes. But to be honest, Windsor is still okay, at least compared with its peers. Silent Hill is 100 kilometers away from the capital, London. A sudden earthquake occurred, and a mountain collapsed, which immediately attracted strong attention from various departments. Ignoring pure scholars, the Ministry of Magic in Windsor sent people to the scene as soon as possible. That is, the afternoon of the second day after the earthquake, Wayne had already arrived home and was enjoying the black tea of the housekeeper FLA. During the period, he punched in, and helped the literary girl to borrow ancient books from the cathedral, and brushed up his favorability by the way. The result of the investigation was no result. The leader of the investigation team was a silver wizard with limited ability. Nothing was found, only the bodies of members of the Church of Death. These bodies were Kerr's masterpiece. He submitted an investigation report, stating the cause and effect, the mayor, the Church of Death, the slate. Kerr did not go deep into the mine, and the information he knew was extremely limited. Why the Church of Death was looking for the slate and what the slate was, it was not written in the report. The Ministry of Magic interviewed Wayne as soon as possible. He was stopped. Austin took the initiative to take the job. He would investigate the matter personally and let the higher UPS wait for a process. He would definitely give a satisfactory answer. As we all know, many things often end up with nothing after waiting for a while. Another informed force is the Heavenly Father Church. Mona said everything. Wayne is Bruce and Bruce is an angel. Archbishop Gunther was shocked to hear the good news. He sat up in shock from his dying illness and asked with a smile where the angel was. He was refreshed and healed on the spot. Compared with this heavy news, he didn't care about the stone tablet at all. It had nothing to do with the devil. It was enough to give the Free Mage Alliance and the Three Goddesses Alliance a headache. In case Mona made a mistake, Gunther was eager to meet Wayne to confirm that he was one of the 7 angels who came. This was very critical and was the top priority of the entire church. Because of this incident, the Pope's hair was almost gone. Archbishop, he doesn't want to admit his identity. Mona was helpless. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether he admits it or not. As long as we can confirm that he is the real one, that's enough. Gunther looked at the cross, asked him to come to the cathedral. I have a way to confirm his identity. Restarting the myth. Author, Feng Chao Huang. Chapter 152. Okay, don't be sad. The headless horseman just said that because he was controlled. He didn't really want to scold you. In the sewer, Wayne comforts the depressed Yulia. What I said is what I said, even if I was controlled, I said it. Yulia, your former master doesn't love you at all. There is no need to be sad for him, Abin snorted coldly, defending his friend's injustice. It's fair to say that the headless horseman is a big pig's hooves. Abin, it is immoral to speak ill of people behind their backs. Although I am very good to Yulia, it is undeniable that the headless horseman is not bad to her either. Wayne reprimanded him with a straight face, not wanting to hear similar words in the future. Yulia was dejected and found a corner to squat. The low air pressure was visible to the naked eye. Yulia, actually you don't have to be sad. Think on the bright side. You had a master who loved you before, and now you still have a master who loves you. You have nothing to lose. Wayne patted the horse's back. KFC Road. I don't think so. The headless horseman treats Yulia as a tool. Unlike you, the master, you will only feel sorry for Yulia, Abin continued. Hey, why are you still talking? Wayne glared at Abin and said, well done. As expected of his dog, this is what he should do. Of course the master is good, but the headless horse, the previous master, was also very good to me. Yulia was almost taken into a ditch by a man and a dog. He said gloomily, I'm not sad because he is cruel to me. He is controlled by the devil. No matter how cruel he is, it is not his intention. When I think that he hasn't come to me for so long, it's because of me. Well, he endured the torture alone, but I found a new owner outside, and I really hated myself. The undead warhorse looked at Wayne. Master, am I the kind of frivolous horse that doesn't know how to love itself? That's definitely not the case. Wayne shook his head in denial. Yulia was a licentious man, so what the hell was he? He was really a loser. The god of pure love cannot bear this kind of grievance. Then what am I? Yulia, you just released your nature. Wayne continued. KFC, do you still remember what the headless horseman said? You did not betray him. The reason why I can ride your horse and gallop is because of his secret instructions. Because he nodded, we can be happy. Headless horseman, I didn't say, how can I nod even if I don't have a head? Wayne smacked his lips, feeling that the taste was not right. The more he spoke, the more he sounded like a fool. He then said, that's the situation. Even if you really betrayed him, it was still within his plan. There is no need to bear any psychological burden. Isn't this not him, mission? Hey, it seems even more wrong. Yulia seemed to understand, but after thinking about it carefully, it seemed that this was true. However, when he thought of the headless horseman being tortured and unable to maintain his independent will, he became depressed and depressed. It will take a few more laps for Wayne to get better. Okay, wait for me here, right? Wayne complied with Yulia's request, transformed into a death knight, sat on horseback and strolled through the sewers. He noticed that the sound of horse hooves gradually became lighter, and said, Yulia, you are still thinking about the headless horseman, right? Yulia was silent for a while. Master, do you think I am betraying you? That won't happen, I'm not a sufferer. Wayne stroked the cold horse's neck and said with a smile, how could it be? Keeping me in mind shows that you are a loyal war horse. It's not too late for me to be happy. That's right, this isn't betrayal, it's gold plating. The master can ride you, and the headless horseman's face will shine. Abin helped. Abin, don't talk, it tastes too strong. Wayne tried to change the topic out of the weird circle of yellow hair, and said to Yulia, cheer up, neither the headless horseman nor I want to see you like this. As for his current situation, Wayne paused and continued, it's just a temporary downfall. He is a knight chosen by God. He will not be controlled by the devil forever. After this test, his faith will become more pious. But the devil is so powerful, and he is still in the alliance. How long will it take for him to regain his freedom? Soon. When we first met, I was nothing. Now I am a silver mage. Wayne said to Yulia, give me some time, and when I am strong enough to defeat the devil, I will go to Paris to rescue the headless horseman and take his head away from the devil. Wayne did not say whether he would return the head to the headless horseman after taking it back, but based on the context, normal people would understand it as returning it. That's what Yulia thought. He was very moved and turned back to rub Wayne's palm. Master, you are so kind. I can't help it. Who asked me to love you so much? I don't feel good if you are sad. Then, what should I do if he regains his will and becomes a Death Knight again? Yulia was extremely confused. Both masters were very kind to her, but she couldn't let go of either one. Is there a possibility that the two owners could be more generous and let her be ridden by the headless horseman during the day and Wayne by night? No losers, win-win-win-win, everyone is happy. It's simple. Just stay with him and I will call you when needed. Just be there at your call, Wayne said cheerfully. He will definitely be sad if he finds out. Stupid, just come here secretly and don't let him know. Well, listen to the master. The future is promising, double happiness. Yulia thought about the future, swept away the gloom in her mind, and became the carefree and happy little mare she was before. She ran with Wayne in the sewer, the sound of horse hooves was fast and rapid, as if only this could express the unspeakable pleasure. Practicing skills, experience is being upgraded. Upward arrow. Wayne couldn't help laughing while riding on horseback. It was impossible for him to come secretly. He had to go through the shadow nightmare to summon Yulia. If there really came such a day, how could the Dullahan not know that Yulia's self-proclaimed sneakiness was just the Dullahan turning a blind eye? Hey, why are you back to the strange circle of Huangmao again? Wayne's house. After coaxing Yulia, Wayne asked her to hide the sealed book, and asked Valkyrie for swordsmanship after returning home. In the ruins of Giant City, he was able to kill the Golden Mage with one sword. In addition to the Death Knight's vest being strong enough, the increasingly improved swordsmanship was the fundamental reason. The sneak attack accounted for a small proportion, only 1%, no more. Valkyrie is a qualified knight teacher. She is always willing to help and never spares her own knowledge. She only keeps what the students cannot learn. As Wayne gradually practiced swordsmanship, he gained some experience in swordsmanship and found that the dragon-slaying swordsmanship taught by Valkyrie was different from that taught by Willy. The swordsmanship taught to Willy is more feminine, with more detailed operations. The swordsmanship learned by Wayne abandoned these details. The moves were open and fierce, and the main focus was to kill 1,000 enemies and lose 800 of their own. Once many sword moves were performed, they completely gave up their own defense. Facing Wayne's question, Valkyrie's answer was very simple. She was armor, she was responsible for defense and protection, and the knight only needed to hold the sword to kill the enemy. Willy continued to practice swordsmanship. Wayne finished the course half an hour early and followed the car to the academy to pick up Chris from school. The senior sister had prepared the university textbooks. This knowledge corresponds to the emptiness of the Silver Cross stage. It is very important and an indispensable part of Wayne's practice. When the car returned from the women's college, it was just dinner time. Master, there is a lady looking for you. She is in the living room and calls herself Mona. She is your good friend, the maid reported. Why is she here? Wayne was quite puzzled. She came at the right time. It's dinner time. Go and prepare a set of tableware. The maid nodded and left. Chris followed behind Wayne and asked curiously, who is Mona? Don't you have few friends? When did you get a new friend? 3 questions in a row, very curious. Wayne heard the meaning of protecting food from it, and silently praised it. It's worthy of him. After unremitting efforts, he finally made the senior sister have improper thoughts about him. Mona is an employee of the detective agency. You are an accountant and should have seen her name. Wayne asked back in a puzzled way, strange, I remember that you have a photographic memory, how come you even forgot the name of your colleague? Chris certainly remembered the name Mona and had read her resume. She was a mature and beautiful big sister. She pretended not to know and was curious about why the other party came to visit. Just when she was about to explain, she saw Wayne looking at her with a half smile, lowered her head and kept silent, looking for ants on the ground. Yes, who Mona is has nothing to do with her. Veronica and Willie should be the ones to worry about. Bar Book 69 New. In the living room, Mona sat upright with a cup of black tea in front of her. Opposite her was Willie, who was on guard, and she would sneak a glance at Mona from time to time. With red lips and glasses, long breasts and legs, and Wayne's favorite stockings, the old woman must have bad intentions when she came to the door at this time. Fully armed, I'm afraid she's going to eat people. Mona smiled at the corners of her eyes. She was a very interesting girl, and her thoughts were written on her face. Willie was a clerk in the detective agency. Relying on her status as a classmate of the rich woman, she skipped work every other day. Mona didn't often go to the detective agency, and the two rarely met. Willie didn't know Mona, she only knew that she was a colleague, skilled in detective business, and had a 100% commission completion rate. She was the trump card of Wayne's detective agency. Before Mona entered the detective agency, she investigated Wayne's social circle. She often complained that she couldn't get close to Wayne because these girls were too young. They are so beautiful and young, pagans are really annoying. Boss. Wayne, you're back. Willie jumped towards Wayne, raised her hand to hug one arm, and turned back to glare at Mona, who came uninvited. You are a golden retriever, not a golden retriever, be good, be friendly to your own kind. Wayne tried to pull out his arm, but the resistance was too great and he failed, so he just let it go. Detective Mona, why are you here? If it's still about that thing, don't mention it. Boss, can we talk alone? But Wayne was about to agree, but his arm tightened, and under pressure, he changed his words. Let's eat first. I asked the maid to add a set of tableware, and we'll talk after we finish eating. After dinner, Mona followed Wayne into the study. Willie leaned over and looked towards the stairs, feeling restless and uncomfortable. She said to Chris beside her, Senior sister, you still have the mind to drink tea, the women outside have chased you home. Chris was choked and coughed repeatedly. This was said as if she was the woman at home. She took out a handkerchief to wipe the corner of her mouth, raised her hand and tapped Willie's head. Don't talk nonsense, Detective Mona is for official business, and it has nothing to do with me, understand? Willie looked at her fiercely, and the lingering sound was very long, and she said mercilessly, just lie to your sisters, don't lie to yourself. You think it doesn't matter, why do you tutor homework every day? I also want to learn, why haven't I seen you teach me? Christine blushed and argued that how could she slander someone's innocence out of thin air, because Wayne was a friend who saved her life, and she was embarrassed to refuse, so she tutored him every day. Then she repeatedly reiterated the word friend, pure friendship, nothing else. At the end, she grabbed Willie's cheek and pinched it. You can't talk nonsense. Willie didn't believe these nonsense, and she sneaked up and pressed Chris's chest, forcing her to withdraw her hand to defend herself, and whispered, Senior sister, the breasts of women outside are so big that even you can't compare. Christine. Don't make such a boring comparison. Moreover, the other party's file stated that he was 32 years old, and he had absorbed nutrition for 10 more years, so this comparison was unfair. Tell you a secret, Wayne likes big breasts. How is that possible? Why would I lie to you? I once asked him what kind of figure he liked when looking for a girlfriend, big breasts or small breasts, Willie whispered in Chris's ear. Then, what did he say? He said that you don't have to find a girlfriend with big breasts, and body shape is not important, you have to find someone you like. Willie complained. I asked him what type he likes, and he said he likes big breasts. Chris was speechless for a while. Don't be silly, he's teasing you. No, he was super serious at the time. Then Veronica was out long ago. In the final analysis, he just simply likes beautiful women. In the study room on the second floor, Wayne invited Mona to sit down across the desk. What's the matter? Why don't you go there specifically? Can't you go to the detective agency? Boss, you didn't go to the detective agency today. That's right. Wayne patted his head. It was indeed like this. Tell me, what's the matter? Let's be frank, if it's an angel or something, don't mention it again. Boss, Archbishop Gunther of St. Paul's Cathedral wants to meet you, anytime. He has been waiting for a day, and will continue to wait in the future, Mona said. Wayne felt a toothache. What do you mean, threatening me? I must meet him. No, he insisted on meeting you. Mona corrected. Unlike the angels summoned by the Golden Rule Bible, you are special. If you don't want to, he won't appear in front of you. With such a high status, can't he do whatever he wants? Wayne blinked. The warehouse of St. Paul's Cathedral should be very large. If the devil, no, if the angel went in for a stroll, would the Archbishop take the initiative to take the blame? It's a pity that he can't take the blame. He is really not an angel. Mona held her breath and waited for Wayne's reply. After a while, she said pitifully, Master, the Archbishop. Don't talk nonsense, there is no such relationship between us. Wayne interrupted and asked bluntly, if I don't meet him, will you ask me every day? Yes, as long as the sincerity is enough, I will definitely impress you. Sincerity is written on the Queen's head portrait. What you are doing can only be considered sexual harassment. Wayne shook his head. Then let's meet once. The facts will prove everything. I am not the person you are looking for. Don't harass me later. It's so funny, how could he be an angel? Mona nodded repeatedly and went to drive immediately. Don't worry, I still have to go to class. But the Archbishop? Let him wait. Wayne stood up and walked towards another study. The fragrant and intellectual senior sister and the Archbishop who likes little boys, it is clear at a glance who is more important. 11 o'clock in the evening, St. Paul's Cathedral. As soon as Mona's car stopped, Gunther and Atlee came to meet her. The two looked at Wayne carefully. According to Mona, this man was not only an angel, but also Bruce, who was undercover in the Devil's camp. He really looked righteous. Wayne appeared in Dragonheart Island, and the Blood Tyrant was driven back to hell. Wayne was undercover in the Thousand Eyes Demon camp, and the Thousand Eyes Demon plan failed and returned to hell in disgrace. What a big hatred! No wonder Mona was full of confidence and determined that Wayne was an angel. Gunther and Atlee believed it 80%, otherwise there would be no explanation. In the quiet room of the cathedral, before Wayne's identity was officially confirmed, Gunther did not use the honorific title, waved his hand in front of him, and took out a thick golden book. The Bible of the Golden Rule. As soon as this book came out, it immediately attracted the Book of Greed to look out, and Wayne's eyes became sharp. Mr. Wayne, have you seen the words above? Yes. Wayne has not only seen the Golden Rule of Angels, but also the 7 deadly sins, but there is no need to tell Gunther about these, so he casually said, I should have seen it, I saw it in a Bible, but I can't remember it clearly. I know you have seen it. Gunther's eyes lit up. The Golden Rule Bible and other Bibles are two different concepts. This statement can't fool him. He subconsciously used honorifics, it's normal to remember it. Your coming is very special. There is no memory of heaven. You really make me an angel. Wayne was helpless. Come on, what should I do to prove that I am just an ordinary human? Please wait. Gunther chanted a spell to open the Golden Rule Bible, placed it flat in front of Wayne, and said respectfully, "Please put your palm on it, the Bible will respond to you, although your soul has been reincarnated, the holy marks of heaven will also come with it, and the Golden Rule will stimulate the holy marks. Don't say so much, I am not, and I don't need to know these secrets, so as not to kill people to silence them." Wayne interrupted Gunther and raised his hand to press on the page of the Golden Rule Bible. Boom! Holy light descends. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 153. I saw it all. It was the other side who insisted on treating us. I didn't force them. Wayne raised his hand and pressed the Golden Rule Bible. He said no, but he didn't believe it. Well, he can't eat this meal. The moment his fingertips touched, the holy power of the holy light flowed into Wayne's body along his arm. The light of the Golden Rule Bible suddenly surged, covering Wayne completely. Gunther's eyes turned white, and he couldn't open his eyes because of the strong holy light. An invisible force spread out and pushed him far to the side. On the left and right sides, Atli and Mona held the Archbishop's arms, and the three of them held their breath and looked at the light. Holy light is coming. Holy, pure, and eternal. Looking at this warm light, the three felt the existence of God, as if they were blessed and guided, and strengthened their faith and courage in the glory. Mona's eyes reflected the holy light, her heartbeat accelerated, she couldn't help swallowing her saliva, and tremblingly said, "Archbishop, it's him, right? Don't talk." Gunther spoke in a low voice, fearing that a louder voice would disturb Wayne's communication with the Golden Rule Bible. Whether it is or not, it cannot be determined now, after all, the stigma has not come out yet, but as far as the picture in front of us is concerned, it is 9 out of 10 stable. The Golden Rule Bible is a channel for the Holy See to communicate with heaven. It is written by the angel who controls the Golden Rule. It is a holy object inherited by the Holy See. Holding it can not only communicate with heaven, but also summon angels to come to the world. Because of its great significance, it is often remembered by the devil. The candidate who holds the Bible cannot be sloppy. The Holy See and heaven have respectively imposed a seal on the Golden Rule Bible. The Holy See's selection has been carefully checked. Basically, every holder of the Golden Rule Bible is the highest person in charge of each diocese. Their faith has been tested by time, and their strength is not much worse. At least they are all at the gold level. Like Gunther, he has to go through several tests before he is qualified to contract the Golden Rule Bible. This contract is equivalent to a letter of introduction. Gunther took the letter of introduction and entered the gate of heaven with his mind. He could establish a long-term cooperative relationship with an angel in the Human Resources Department. If his holy light is pure enough and his strength is strong enough, he can set up a small stall and shout loudly, and many angels passing by will be willing to cooperate with him. Let's talk about the seal of heaven. It is imposed by the angels themselves, and the control is more strict. Without absolutely pure holy light and a letter of recommendation from the Holy See, unauthorized use of the Golden Rule Bible will be judged as a devil, triggering the automatic defense system, and a large wave of holy light will be injected, directly blowing people away. If you don't accept it and still want to force it, the defense system will strengthen the output, and it will be gone in an instant. The defense mechanism ensures that angels cannot impersonate and can enter and exit the gate of heaven freely. Relatively speaking, it becomes extremely difficult to find reincarnated angels. Reincarnated angels have no memory of heaven and will not take the initiative to reveal their identities. The Holy See needs to find them one by one. The vast sea of people is a problem, and the defense mechanism is either dead or injured. The Church is a positive camp. It is impossible to arrest people on the street and conduct experiments one by one. This barbaric and irresponsible behavior is no different from locking anyone suspected of being a witch in the basement for torture and finally burning them. It can't be done. So Gunther complained that the reincarnation of angels was too troublesome, and the Pope was so anxious that he pulled a lot of hair. Back to the point, Wayne was injected with a large wave of holy light, and shook slightly, but did not blow up. Book of Greed, follow the church and you will have 9 meals a day. The defense mechanism increased the output intensity, and the holy light was so much that it overflowed. This situation caused Gunther to be seriously misled. He didn't know that Wayne could cheat, and he really thought he had found the right person. Le.jpg. The Book of Greed obtained a large amount of holy light, and Wayne felt hot all over. It was too warm. The overflowing holy light could not be vented in the body, and it would become a blazing holy flame. The Book of Greed is very picky. It will not eat what it has eaten again, and it is too lazy to touch the leftovers. It has tasted these holy lights, and no matter how delicious they are, it will not eat them a second time. Wayne was hot and unbearable. He looked at the Book of Greed and dyed his magic with pure white holy wool, pretending to be a person who felt much better. Diamond Suit TT Kappa and Diamond Suit C. At this time, bathing in the holy light no longer felt hot and burning, but warm and comfortable. He had touched the reincarnation altar of the Lord of Arrogance, which had the golden rule holy word on it. It was more than enough to pretend to be a person, so the defense mechanism stopped output and opened a shining door to him. It was called a door, but it was actually 2 tall and majestic pillars, engraved with countless mysterious and complex patterns and symbols. Pure light shot out from the door, making Wayne feel an indescribable tranquility and peace, as if his soul had been sublimated. The Book of Greed was impatient and was about to rush forward with a roar. Wayne slapped it, and it was much more honest. "I haven't rushed yet, why are you in such a hurry? Go and queue up behind me." Wayne's greed was aroused. The moment the gate of heaven appeared, his mind was projected in front of the gate. He hesitated for 0.25 seconds and looked inside cautiously. The mind escaped into the gate of heaven, and Wayne's mind was shaped uncontrollably. The pale limbs and torso, the face without facial features, and the huge single eye on his chest were all the characteristics of his fusion with the Book of Greed. Inside the gate, the sky was shrouded in mysterious light, and the whole world was bathed in sacred light. Deep in the clouds, large and small white palaces stood in a row, rainbow bridges, waterfalls were silver, and occasionally a dragon roar sounded, rolling waves in the sea of clouds. The magnificent picture slowly unfolded in front of Wayne, and the mysterious and solemn atmosphere came to his face. Flutter, flutter. A ray of light descended from the sky, and the angels with wings on their backs were looming in the holy light. Their faces were blurred and could not be seen clearly, but only the wisdom in their eyes could be seen. Gentleness, kindness, hope, dreams, and wishing the world eternal peace. The pattern came up all of a sudden. Wayne did not have this awareness, and suspected that the other party was pretending, and forcibly raised the realm to deceive him, an honest man. The big eyeballs on his chest blinked, and the beauty filter was turned off, and the appearance of the angels suddenly changed. The wings were still the same wings, and even enlarged a lot in proportion. The other parts changed 180 degrees, and the shapes were varied. What Wayne could imagine could be found here. Some looked like people, some were animals, some had black dry bodies, some had devil-like horns, and some had strange geometric shapes, and more were patchwork monsters. It cannot be said to be anthropomorphic. This group of angels who collectively did not act as humans were not similar to humans in appearance. Their faces were hideous, weird, ugly, and terrifying. The holy light could not make them look compassionate, but only made people resist and stay away from them. Wayne's mind was reshaped, 6 flesh wings spread out, limbs and head disappeared, Only the single eye on the torso and the tentacles squirming behind him remained. The angels looked over curiously. There was a smell of the golden rule. It was one of us. Whose trumpet is it? It's endless, right? What are you looking at me for? I'm not that boring. I don't know. More and more angels gathered around, and Wayne squirmed and stretched out his tentacles, scaring several angels around him to run away. The tentacles rolled in the void, collecting the holy light and taking it into the body. The angels met and discussed for a while, and one of them flapped his wings to drive Wayne out of the gate of heaven. Why are you pretending to be a newbie here? Change to a big account and come over to talk. The surging holy light dissipated, and the Golden Rule Bible fell to the ground with a bang. Wayne looked at his hands, with golden light flashing in his eyes. He said to Gunther and the other two, "No reaction, I don't have a stigmata, I'm really not an angel." "How could there be no reaction? Do you think I'm blind?" X3. Wayne's mind escaped into the gate of heaven. The three onlookers saw the form of his mind shaping and the hazy shadow of the angel in the holy light. Although they didn't hear the conversation, they obviously communicated for a while. "You are an angel." X3. Archbishop Gunther was the most certain. When he contracted the Golden Rule Bible, he entered the gate of heaven. His mind shaping maintained human appearance, without wings and big eyes, but Wayne was different. He showed his original form on the spot. This is a direct manifestation of the soul, and it can't be faked. In addition, when he went in, the angels ignored him and were busy to death. I don't know what they were busy with, but they were very busy anyway. He shouted for a long time, probably because the noise disturbed the people, and finally begged an angel to show up reluctantly. He lowered his price again and reluctantly finalized the cooperation relationship. Wayne was surrounded by onlookers as soon as he entered the door. The treatment was very different. It was clear that he was warmly welcomed home. The evidence is conclusive. Under the glory of heaven, how can you continue to quibble? Gunther was unhappy. He didn't know how much suffering he had suffered to find Wayne. He couldn't sleep all night. Now he found him, but the other party was shameless and refused to admit it. How could there be such a hypocritical angel? Dare to be straightforward. MMP in his heart, smiling on his face. Gunther smiled and said, "Mr. Wayne, the Golden Rule Bible does not exclude you, and you have successfully entered heaven. According to this process, you are an angel." Wayne. No one is so strong-willed as you. You just said it very clearly, there will be stigmata, stigmata. Wayne raised his voice and turned around, "Look at me, where are the signs of stigmata? You insisted that I was it before the proof, and you still pestered me after the proof, so I touched it in vain." Wayne was very dissatisfied with his attitude, and Gunther coaxed and persuaded, "Mr. Wayne, the stigmata may be hidden in a hidden corner. If you don't believe it, I will let Mona take you to the next room and check it out and you will find it." Mona was eager to try. "What are you so excited about?" Wayne. "Excuse me, is this really a cathedral? Why does it sound like a red light district?" Wayne waved his hand, "No need to test, I am sure I am not an angel, and there are no holy marks on my body. Please rest assured that I will help keep the secret of the angel's reincarnation and will not spread it everywhere. So, don't hire a killer, it's better to keep him silent with this money." Wayne was about to leave. The food in the cathedral was good, and the midnight snack tasted great. "In the future, when I transform, I will add holy light special effects and feathers, and finally I will no longer be bald and fleshy." "Wait a minute." Gunther blocked the way and almost knelt down to Wayne with a bitter face, "Mr. Wayne, if you don't like it, I have another test method. You will know once you try it that you are really a reincarnated angel." Wayne looked at his watch and said in surprise, "It's early morning, how come it's been so long? Ordinary people can't stay in heaven for so long." Gunther reminded in a low voice, and then said, "This method is very simple and won't delay you too much time. I swear on the Bible that if it fails, it proves that you are not an angel, and I will never bother you again. Okay, this is the last time since he came here. Wayne is ready to solve the problem once and for all." Gunther was delighted and told the test method. Angels can sign a contract with a clergyman through the Golden Rule Bible, usually a cooperative relationship. Through this contract, the clergyman can borrow the power of the angels. This contract is not reliable. The clergy can only borrow limited angel power, and cannot stimulate the power of the stigmata. It is impossible to prove that Wayne is not an angel and has no stigmata. Therefore, the contract must be upgraded from cooperation to a mandatory master-servant relationship. Wayne is on top and the clergy are on the bottom. When the contract is reached, the clergy will stimulate the stigmata by borrowing the power of angels. In this way, it is clear at a glance whether it is true or not. "You have such a convenient way, why didn't you use it just now?" Wayne was very puzzled. If the food was not good, he would have overturned the table. "Please explain the reason." "It is because you refuse to admit it that I have to use this trick." Gunther was dissatisfied in his heart, but he did not complain at all. He said enthusiastically, "The Holy See has a nun with a Holy Spirit physique who is very suitable for signing a contract. I will call her over now." Gunther's operation, in addition to providing evidence to prevent Wayne from quibbling, has another consideration. He can see that Wayne knows that he is an angel and still refuses to admit it. His character is somewhat hypocritical. As for an angel, it is understandable. The person who signed the contract with him is also difficult to communicate with. He has a bad temper. In this case, it is difficult for the church to command Wayne. The latter has an independent will and cannot be trained as a thug. Forcing it will only embarrass both parties. But leaving the angel unused is equivalent to finding him in vain, which is not in the interests of the church. It is different to let a clergyman sign the contract. Clergymen are easy to control. With a word of justice, the church does not need to spend more words, and they will rush up. Wayne did not know Gunther's wishful thinking. It would not matter if he knew it. It was a waste of effort. There was no so-called holy mark at all. He asked, "Can this master-servant contract be torn up?" "It will not be effective forever, right?" "It can be torn up, but the golden rule is fair and just. It is not a joke to be witnessed by it." Both parties must nod, and the servant must pay a certain price to revoke it. Gunther answered truthfully. "This contract is for angels who are undisciplined. Take the power." Wayne nodded. As long as it was not his loss, he pointed at Mona and said, "Forget about the nun with the Holy Spirit physique, a quick battle, I think she is good." Mona was stunned for a moment, and then she was very happy. The master finally recognized her identity. "Mona." Gunther pondered for a moment. Mona did not have the Holy Spirit physique, could not accept more angelic power, signing a contract was too wasteful, but seeing Wayne's impatient face, he could only grit his teeth and confirm the candidate. "Mona has decent talent, devout faith, hard-working enough, and most importantly, she is easy to control." "No, I'll leave if it's not possible." "Yes, very much, she has your thoughts in her body, saving a link, it's perfect," Gunther said. Wayne blinked, it seemed to be true, and said with a stiff upper lip, "I don't know what you are talking about, I have never planted thoughts in his body, if there is, it should be a coincidence." "I think so too, it's too coincidental." Gunther nodded with a serious face. Wayne was speechless. He never expected that a boomerang would hit him during an experiment. No, he was not wrong. He was trying to protect Mona. If he had to say he was wrong, it could only be the Thousand Eyes demon. Mona came to Wayne excitedly and knelt on one knee according to Gunther's request. "Mona, are you willing to be?" "I am." X2. Wayne, why are you so anxious? The Archbishop hasn't finished his words yet. The shape of the contract is a bit like a proposal, but Mona didn't bring a proposal ring, and Wayne just put his hand on her head. Gunther unsealed the seal, and the mind that was dormant in Mona's body immediately became active. At the same time, Mona heard the voice of the Master again. The voice and the person were right in front of her, proving that Wayne equals Bruce equals angel. He is really an angel, and he can't wash it off. It can still be washed. Wayne gnashed his teeth and asked Gunther to start the contract ceremony quickly. Facts will not lie, and justice is in the hearts of the people. When there are no stigmata on Mona, she will naturally return him to darkness. At the same time, he also promised to untie the contract and return Mona to freedom. As Gunther recited the complex and ancient contract spell, the Golden Rule Bible slowly floated up and hovered above Wayne and Mona. The strong holy light shone down, triggering the thoughts in Mona's body, making Wayne feel that he was the master, he was on top, and Mona was the servant below. The burning sensation came again, Wayne switched modes, and the surging holy power was released. The pure and flawless brilliance made Gunther marvel. It was indeed the light that only angels had. The Bible captured the breath of the Golden Rule, confirmed that Wayne was the master, and stripped away part of Mona's thoughts to make her subject to Wayne's control. Through this relationship, Mona can call on the Golden Rule in Wayne's body. The golden halo manifested a phantom, the wedge was locked tightly, and the master-servant contract was officially concluded. Mona's face was pious, the silver white in her eyes turned to gold, the aura around her body rose wildly, and a pair of white wings spread out behind her. Breaking through the silver boundary and heading straight for the gold realm, the faint stigma on the back of the raised hand gradually deepened until it was completely formed. This is also possible? Where did the stigma come from? It was borrowed from him, how could he not know? It's unreasonable, isn't it? Wayne stared at it in amazement, and after a while, he burst into a swear word. Restarting the myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 154. Owner. Mona stood up happily, feeling the surging holy power in her body, and her eyes were filled with excitement. Apart from the pain of splitting her mind at the beginning, the process of signing the contract was very happy. The warmth of floating high in the sky and lying flat on the clouds made her feel like she was in heaven and couldn't stop at all. The wings on her back were completely different from the wings of light condensed by the holy light. They were neither energy nor an absolute entity. It felt strange and she couldn't find the right words to describe it. All I know is that it doesn't hurt at all, just like my own hands and feet, I can call them and control them as I wish. Gunther looked at the stigmata on the back of Mona's hand, with a smile in his eyes, and looked at Wayne with a smile. Lord Angel, aren't you going to say something? Wayne. He looked at the stigmata on the back of Mona's hand, and then at the floating Golden Rule Bible. What to say, how to say it, this question is too difficult. Wayne's eyes widened and he began to think about life. Is there a possibility that he is really the reincarnation of an angel? Then he thought about it, it was absolutely impossible, the soul he traveled through did not belong to this world, how could it be an angel? Gunther had made it very clear before that the stigmata was engraved in the soul of an angel and could not be erased even in reincarnation. When he entered heaven, he showed no trace of the stigmata, which proved that he was indeed not an angel. The question is, why did Mona become available as soon as the contract was signed? Humph, don't be too happy first, I can still quibble. Wayne raised his hand. First of all, I don't have any stigmata. If I don't have any. If you don't believe it, go next door. Mona, come and get tested. Open your eyes and see clearly inside and out. Mona nodded like a chicken pecking at rice, wanting to see it. Look at a chicken. As a clergyman, you still have wings. Do you dare to be more reserved? Wayne rolled his eyes, skipped the physical examination, and continued, secondly, Mona's stigmata appeared after signing the contract. She did not sign a contract with me, but with the golden law in my body. So, X2. Gunther and Mona spoke at the same time, feeling tired. Even at this juncture, they still refused to admit that Angel's character was really troublesome. Atli looked around and found that he was excluded, and then said, So to sum up, Mona's stigmata has nothing to do with me. It was the golden law in my body that gave her the stigmata, Wayne said with certainty. Yes, that's it. 90% of the golden rule in his body comes from the reincarnation altar of the arrogant Lord, 1/10 comes from the Bible, 1/10 is ignored, and 90% is dominant. The case is solved. Mona's stigmata was given by the Lord of Arrogance. Lord Angel. Gunther sighed and said quietly, even legendary clergy can only borrow the golden rule with the permission of angels and cannot hold it for a long time. Can you tell me how you did it? Of course. Wayne suddenly lost his temper mid-sentence. Of course it was the Lord of Arrogance. I couldn't say these words, I could only look at Mona helplessly. Be good, tell the Archbishop, what did you just see? The Master has the golden rule within him. Wayne scratched his head anxiously. He knew the answer, but it felt very uncomfortable if he couldn't tell it to clear his grievances. After a long while, he suppressed a sentence to insult himself. I touched Mona's butt. I touched it out of desire. I touched it when I wanted to. How can there be such a dirty angel? It's very unreasonable, right? You were trying to save me. It was inconvenient to reveal your identity when you were undercover. I had no choice but to do so. I understand. Mona smiled slightly and didn't care. In order to stop the devil and save London, the angel knelt down and called the devil his master. An angel can still be sacrificed so far, so having her butt touched is nothing. Besides, the angel didn't really want to touch. Touching wasn't the purpose. The purpose was to let the devil lower his guard. Gunther also looked at Wayne with a smile. How about I give you some time to explain it after you finish it? After all, he is an angel with an eccentric personality and a bad temper. Just think about it in your mind to prevent the other party from becoming angry and angry. It's so hard for me. Wayne sighed repeatedly and persisted in resisting to the end. I'm not, I really am not. Although all kinds of evidence show that I am, I know that I was wronged. This is the devil's conspiracy. If I admit it, you will definitely do it in the future. Let me take charge. Don't worry, no one will hold you responsible. Gunther followed. Whatever. Anyway, let me put it down today. I am not an angel. Mona's stigmata has nothing to do with me. If anything happens in the future, you will be responsible for everything. Wayne stated the disclaimer. Just in case, he asked Gunther to make a note. As the Archbishop, he wrote down the terms, and if the angel was later found to have another person, it was all Gunther's fault, and all the losses to the Holy See had nothing to do with Wayne. Gunther signed the disclaimer at the speed of light, so fast that it seemed that if he were slower, he would not be able to take the blame. Wayne's eyes twitched when he saw it. He had said all the good things to him. If the other party insisted on offering the cathedral warehouse, then don't blame him for looking ugly. Where is the saint? Come out and sleep with her. Is there a saint in our Holy See? I'm sleepy. I won't leave tonight. I'll ask the saint to come out and channel the spirit. Wayne looked at Gunther angrily. Do you understand psychics? I am a spirit. The process of injecting holy light into the saint is called psychic. In a similar situation, we can give an example of Abio and his girlfriend Timmy, but that is the Death Church version of channeling without the holy light. The former is a death shooter and the latter is an undead knight. With such a detailed explanation, Wayne thought Gunther should understand. Now that he understands, he should bring the saint over. Lord Angel, there is no such thing as a saint in the Holy See. Seeing that Wayne had given up on himself and started acting rogue, Gunther almost laughed out loud. What about the angels? I am an angel, how can I sleep in a cold bed? Tonight, Mona, you. As soon as Wayne pointed at Mona, he saw the latter nodding repeatedly. After a brief silence, he turned his finger and pointed at Atli. Mona, your captain, go and prepare some food. I'm hungry. Atli was stunned for a moment and left the quiet room to prepare food. Who, just want to eat? Don't bring the little boy here. I'm different from you. Wayne shouted at the top of his lungs. Seeing that Gunther's face was like the bottom of a pot, his mouth became even more proud. He leaned on the cross and said sternly, it has spread to heaven. You shameless people are fighting with the devil all day long to fight for little boys. Children. Don't be afraid, I'll go in and drive away the devil. Bah, you deserve to go to hell. X2. Gunther and Mona were silent at the same time. Regardless of whether there was such a joke in heaven or not, the fact that the angel began to break down his character showed that the other party was in a bad mood. Just give it up as soon as it's ready, you can't force him to admit his identity anymore. Gunther asked Mona to retract her wings and hide the stigmata so as not to further irritate the angel. If the latter becomes too angry and spreads the Holy See's hell jokes to passers-by on the street, it will be great fun. Angel, you know, little boys always leave the church crying. Passerby, real or fake? Angel, why are you lying to me? I saw it all from above. Thinking of this scene, Gunther was sweating profusely. He didn't know if other angels would do this. This was really possible. Lead the way. I'm going to the warehouse to get something. I left a few treasures behind when I came here. I did the math and they happened to be picked up by St. Paul's Cathedral. Wayne covered the exemption clause in his arms and said, although he was unfairly wronged, he did not make any profit at all. How dare Gunther disobey and take the initiative to lead the way? Mona followed behind Wayne and whispered, Master, you and Bruce really think exactly the same. There is still a little bit of pride in the words. Wayne glared at her angrily, knowing that Gunther could hear her. He raised his hand and gave her a hard slap on his butt. Snap! Did you hear that? This slap is on your face. Gunther turned a deaf ear, as if he had been cursed by the devil to become deaf. Mona gritted her teeth and hummed softly, and found her master. The master was an angel. She signed a contract with the angel, and her body was filled with the master's power. Many happiness came together. Today is a lucky day. Happy.jpg. No, reward her. Wayne's eyelids twitched, this nun was broken. It should have nothing to do with him. He has been trained a few times, and his training route is to let Mona be a good undercover agent. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask, don't do what you shouldn't do, obey the orders honestly, and complete the master's tasks wholeheartedly. The mission is all for Mona's good. Therefore, the problem with Mona being so bad is her own fault. There is something wrong with her constitution. Seeing that the master and servant at the back were no longer interacting, Gunther found the opportunity and said, the holy mark on the back of Mona's hand has a cross as its main body, with the left and right ends sloping upward and then extending. The overall structure is similar to a scale, and can also be regarded as a sword and a crossguard respectively. Hand, indicating the battle with the angel leader who signed the contract with her. This book is nothing. Basically every angel who descends is mainly engaged in fighting, but I have seen similar symbols in the Golden Rule Bible. Gunther narrowed his eyes slightly, suppressing his excitement, and said in a trembling voice, this symbol corresponds to the arrogance among the 7 deadly sins. It symbolizes humility and justice. There are not many angels who hold this symbol. Each one is extremely powerful. Mona's master has a high status in heaven and is most likely commanding an army. Master is so awesome, Mona's eyes lit up. Shut up. Oh. Seeing Mona bow her head and stop talking, Wayne felt no sense of accomplishment at all, and his mind was not on Mona. After analyzing what the Archbishop said, his eyes suddenly became clear. There is only one truth. Gunther's words confirmed his previous guess that Mona could obtain the stigmata, and the culprit was the Lord of Arrogance. Wayne remembered very clearly that the altar of reincarnation possesses both the energy of heaven and hell. This is necessary. If the arrogant Lord wants to be reincarnated through the altar, he must erase his own aura of hell. Even if he cannot erase it, he must find ways to cover it up so that the spirit of hell can. The breath is not that obvious. Following this line of reasoning, the golden rule chosen by the Lord of Arrogance can only be the opposites of humility and justice. He gained humility and justice through the Book of Greed, and due to a series of coincidences, he was regarded as an angel by the Golden Rule Bible, and the corresponding stigmata was projected on Mona. Reasonable and reasonable, answer the question with full marks. It dawned on Wayne that, yes, that was it. The answer is almost ready-made, and you can guess it with just your brain. If this reasoning is wrong, he is a hammer. But Wayne still has another question that he can't figure out. Mona got the golden rule of humility and justice through him. Why doesn't he have the stigmata on his body? Could it be that this thing is based on people's orders, and if they don't believe in the Heavenly Father, they won't be given a stamp of approval? If this is the case, Wayne is really helpless and will never get the enhancement brought by the stigmata in this life. He has no faith at all. Take the faith magic of death as an example. This is the strongest faith magic he has at hand. Every time he fantasizes about the goddess of death holding a small lecture hall, two long legs will be looming under the goddess's black robe. I wear black stockings recently and they are not so white anymore. Death is like this, not to mention other beliefs in magic, such as the goddess of nature in the health room, the sun goddess in the gymnasium, the moonlight goddess in the music room, and the dark goddess, the dean of teachers who focuses on ideological and moral character. By the way, in Wayne's fantasy, the goddess of death teaches history. She is black, long, straight, beautiful, and has a good temperament. Under her cold and stern appearance, she hides a gentle heart that longs to be understood. With his devout faith, even if he truly believed in the Heavenly Father, the latter was also the principal of the school next door, so he could not get the stigmata. Life is not easy, Wayne sighed. He wanted to believe it, but as soon as he believed it, the high-ranking goddesses suddenly changed into black stockings. Heavenly Father is not wearing any, he is wearing a hood. Mr. Wayne, look at this holy sword, which has been passed down for 300 years and embodies the lifelong faith of a paladin. Although it is ordinary iron, it has long been shaped into a divine weapon by his thinking. Common stuff, Mona, take it. Mr. Wayne, how about this robe? It originated from the papal state. The identity of the owner cannot be determined. According to legend, it was the equipment worn by an angel when he came to the world. It's okay, Mona, take it away. Look at this again. Mona. St. Paul's Cathedral is the headquarters of the Holy See in Windsor. The warehouse covers an area 10 times that of St. Dominic's Cathedral and houses countless treasures, each of which is a rare treasure. Gunther knew all his treasures and introduced each item in great detail, without worrying about Wayne taking it for himself. We are all our own people, and if we take it, we are fighting against the devil, so just take it. Although Gunther introduced it in great detail, and the treasures were indeed treasures, for Wayne, who had tasted the golden rule, it was difficult for these small objects to arouse his interest. After shopping around for 3 times, there was nothing that caught his eye. But the thief didn't leave empty. Just because he didn't need them didn't mean he didn't want them. He asked Mona to pack them one by one and send them to her home for temporary safekeeping. After a while, he plans to build a warehouse to store the treasures he picked up. He will keep them first in case they are used in the future. Hey, this area is. Wayne looked intently and discovered a new world. There were magic props from other churches in the collection of St. Paul's Cathedral. He suddenly thought of the stone slab, searched for it, and shook his head regretfully. The slab is not in St. Paul's Cathedral. Without the slate and other things, these 6 sun gems are good, in a set. Wayne remembered that the 15th of this month was Willie's birthday, and he was worried that he had no gift except stockings and a hip skirt, so he was rude when he fell asleep and encountered a pillow. According to the exemption clause, the loss of the cathedral will be blamed on Gunther. That being the case, Mona, this moonlight dagger, this dark magic mirror, these bottles and jars of seeds, pack them all up and take them away. Wayne said with a dark face, they are all evil weapons of pagans. If these evil things are kept in the cathedral for a long time, there is no guarantee that they will not be contaminated with evil spirits. Although there are many young boys in the church, the yang energy is also too strong, but we can no longer sacrifice little boy. Take them all away and let him, the angel, suppress them himself. As he spoke, Wayne grabbed a handful of gems and stuffed them into his pocket. After thinking about it, he grabbed 2 more handfuls and handed them to Gunther and Mona respectively. Blessings are shared, guilt is shared, he is an angel, no one is innocent tonight. Mona caught the gem with a confused look on her face, and looked at Gunther in astonishment. She saw that the archbishop silently put it into his pocket, pretending to be a fake. Mona, I was taught by the archbishop. Gunther, rewarded by angels. Mr. Wayne, your identity is of great importance. I will contact the papal state and send the news as soon as possible. Gunther followed Wayne out of the warehouse. If it is convenient, I would like to make an appointment with you and arrange a special plane to leave Windsor. Let the envoy from the papal state meet you in a country that is convenient to speak with. No, I have a big mission and I don't have time to meet them. Wayne waved his hand and walked toward the back door of the church. It was impossible for him to meet people from the papal state, and the Pope would not be there even when he came. Mona quickly followed her owner and drove him home. Looking at the angel's retreating figure, Gunther slowly breathed a sigh of relief. No matter what, he had been found. This is a good thing. Gunther, the character of an angel. Atli walked out from the corner. He had prepared food, but now it seemed that his work was in vain. It doesn't matter, there's Mona. Gunther smiled slightly. He knew early on that angels were difficult to handle, so he asked Mona to sign a contract with them. As a result, everyone has a bright future. This is sure. What about the papal state? It's impossible not to meet. I'll let Mona coax him. X2. Atli, no one will be killed, right? Gunther, wouldn't that be better? If the Pope is happy, we can all be promoted, and you will be the Archbishop from now on. Restarting the myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 155. Wayne almost believed it himself because he became a reincarnated angel for no apparent reason. He knew he was not, so just pretend nothing happened. Eat when you should eat and sleep when you should sleep, start every day with full spirit, and devote limited time to unlimited learning. When he first entered Silver Cross, Wayne was blank in all aspects, which was the stage with the highest learning efficiency. At this time, he was like SpongeBob, in urgent need of nutrients. He could eat anything, and had a high enthusiasm for learning. Knowledge is power. Wayne was eager for knowledge. The learning process of others was very boring, but Wayne was very happy. He had Veronica to practice melee physical skills, Valkyrie and Willie to learn knight swordsmanship, and Chris to tutor him one-on-one in theoretical knowledge. While learning, he could also brush up intimacy, which doubled the happiness. Even in the most time-consuming meditation, there were 4 rings that continuously transported fellow villagers, and the progress was visible to the naked eye. With a settlement once a day, he always maintained a high morale. During this period, he went to Jianhe County, checked in, and then turned to Silent Hill to open the sealed book and sucked a lot of it. The sealed book provided by the devil is indeed desirable. It is 2 or 3 floors higher than the treasures collected in St. Paul's Cathedral. After Wayne opened the sealed book, he could only plunder the 4 elements and could not get the power of storm and thunder. To obtain these 2 powers, the obelisk slab must be completely released to reveal its original appearance. This process is too risky, and Wayne will not consider it for the time being. The power will be put aside first. The most urgent task is to give the fellow villagers a place to stay. There are more than one slab of slabs. God knows whether other holders will kidnap fellow villagers. There are so many people. If they are kidnapped by them, Wayne will have nothing to kidnap. Therefore, transferring fellow villagers is the top priority. For the above considerations, Wayne called Dean Plank and took back the ancient silver coin from him. Move the 4 rings to the side first. This is his private property, sacred and inviolable, and there is no need to worry about being plundered by others. The gray space connected by the ancient silver coin is different. Wayne has seen the same silver coin in Austin's hand. By analogy, there are other people in the Free Mage Alliance who hold ancient silver coins. The cake is so big. If he doesn't take it, others will. If he doesn't take it now, he won't be able to take it in the future. When Wayne thought of his wealth being wantonly divided by outsiders, he felt an unspeakable pain in his heart. This is his ancient silver coin, which was only borrowed for temporary safekeeping. The Free Mage Alliance really regarded it as its own property and didn't count at all. When Plank returned the ancient silver coin, he asked a few questions happily. He was not surprised by Wayne's rapid progress. As the first ancestors and the bloodline of the original body, it was natural for him to make rapid progress. He was curious about what beliefs Wayne chose and was happy to help. Plank seemed to have a thorough understanding of Wayne, and was sure that he would choose more gods and would not be limited to the 3 goddesses of the Life Alliance. Everyone is greedy, especially magicians. Plank personally gave Wayne a dark ring, believing that Wayne would be unstoppable after tasting the sweetness, and God's choice must include the dark goddess. It doesn't matter if there is no knowledge, he will provide it to ensure that Wayne can successfully pass the silver stage. When it comes to the gold stage, the Red Leaf Forest Madhouse is still lacking an attending physician. There is no love without reason in the world. The old man is so generous, he must have his calculations. Wayne couldn't guess it for a while, and didn't give a direct answer. He just said that the belief in darkness needs to be considered again. After being promoted to silver, Wayne's thinking became stronger and stronger. With his evolution, the appetite of the Book of Greed became bigger and bigger. The eyeballs on the 4 corners of the cover are like bottomless pits, and they don't know how to be satisfied. When meditating, they extend more tentacles, plunder faster, and have an extremely strong desire for the 4 elements. Good thing. Wayne no longer regards greed as a derogatory word. It is called ambition, which is the same as his first love, which is a positive word. It is precisely because of the greed of the Book of Greed that his purchase efficiency is guaranteed. The life essence increases by 3% every day, which is much more efficient than the previous hexagram stage. It looks fast, but it is not. This 3% of life essence is only for natural beliefs. Once it is extended to the 5 goddesses, the increase will not be very obvious. Take your time, at least there is no shortage of resources now. Wayne is fully committed to the happy learning atmosphere and rarely goes to the detective agency. When Wayne does not go to the detective agency, Mona takes the initiative to visit him, every day at dinner time, trying to make Wayne get used to her existence and quietly integrate into this family. In her words, it is natural for the master to provide meals. Smart women are different. I don't know what magic she used, but she quickly dispelled Willie's hostility. Every day, she called her sister sister. If you don't know, You really think they are good sisters for many years? Considering that Willie has always been free, it is not an achievement to deal with her. For example, Chris has always been very polite to Mona, never calling her by her name, either Ms. Mona or Detective Mona. You may say she is unkind, but she still smiles and greets people. Chris, the skirts of women outside are getting shorter and shorter. Veronica is reckless and Willie is not smart. If I don't take action, they will suffer heavy losses when Wayne is defeated and captured. Veronica is very hostile to Mona. When they first met, she directly labeled her as a bad woman. In her simple view of right and wrong, black silk plus short skirt equals bad woman. Good women will not dress revealingly in front of men. There must be a purpose for exposing. The last time I saw such a sexy woman was in Mr. Landau's office. Wayne was eating melons on the side, feeling very nice, calling Mona a catfish, opening up the situation and injecting vitality. Roll. Let's roll together, there is no future without rolling. Time went round and came to October 14th. Today is the day that Austin invited Wayne to attend a business party, which started at 3 p.m. and ended at 8 p.m. The venue was the Business Exhibition Hall in the central area of Lendham. At noon, FLA began to run around, carefully dressing up Wayne and reiterating social etiquette. The idea was simple, to let Austin know that the new master he chose was no worse than the original one. Wayne was very patient with FLA, even if he was annoyed, he still smiled and let him toss. "Master, are you sure you don't want to bring a female companion?" FLA frowned, "The 3 women you know can attend as female companions. If you are embarrassed to ask for it and are afraid of being rejected, Miss Mona will definitely not refuse." As a professional butler, he is very accurate in judging people. He saw through Mona's obedience to Wayne at a glance. This relationship is not that of lovers, friends, or bosses and employees. The hierarchy is far beyond the general master and butler servants, so FLA saw through it but didn't say it. After all, Wayne is a young man. It is normal and understandable to have physiological needs. No need for a female companion, I can go there by myself. Wayne looked at his watch and listened to FLA's nagging for more than 2 hours. It was time to leave. "By the way, FLA, remember to wait for me in the parking lot, I won't stay at the party for too long." Wayne was not interested in the so-called business party. In addition, he suspected that Austin had set up a trap. He didn't plan to attend the party, but he had to give his teacher face. After thinking about it, he just went there to have dinner to supplement the family income. Increase income and reduce expenditure, saving money is making money. "Master, your idea is too naive." FLA smiled but said nothing. He probably guessed something and knew that Wayne would be home very late today. Lendham Central District, Financial City. Business Exhibition Hall. The exhibition hall is located on the most prosperous street, with many banks and stock exchange centers everywhere, and all the upper-class elites are here. These elites have their own interpersonal network, which has deviated from the concept of ordinary leaks. They are the sickles for cutting leaks in the hands of the powerful. They only need to wait for an opportunity to join the dragon camp and find their own sickles. Today's business gathering is undoubtedly the best opportunity. Socialites have also set their sights on this business opportunity. Whether investing in the social elites who are now unknown, or wandering among the powerful, even if they just brush their faces, they can increase their own commercial value. Elites and the powerful do not lose, socialites make a lot of money, and everyone is a winner. FLA felt that the master had no female companion around him and looked too lonely, so he wanted to contact a socialite as a female companion. "You have this way, why haven't I heard you mention it before?" Wayne got off the black limousine, waved the invitation in his hand, and said with a smile, "FLA, those women are too high for me, you don't want the Wayne family's mistress to settle down casually, right?" "Master, you misunderstood, They are ladies, from a wealthy family, knowledgeable, connotative, extraordinary temperament, and have contributed to society, not the kind of casual women FLA corrected. Wayne then reacted, "That's right, these days, socialites and goddesses are full of gold, and have not fallen into the sewer. Master, do you need me to contact you? Next time, next time." Wayne decisively refused, handed over the invitation at the door, and walked into the exhibition hall in a black suit. Although the housekeeper was right, boys go out, especially good boys like him who are ignorant of the world and have no mind, to protect themselves first. He has experienced the charm and traps of female stars and doesn't want to fall into the same pit twice. Besides, he didn't really need a female companion, he just didn't want to bring one. If he didn't believe it, he could whistle now and Mona would come immediately. The exhibition hall is divided into 4 floors. The first floor is the service hall, the second floor is the product exhibition hall, the third floor is the lecture hall and conference room, and the fourth floor is temporarily converted into a business banquet with a very high standard buffet. Very formal. There is no big swimming pool as Wayne imagined, no swimsuit beauties, and even less singing and dancing. The upper class may be vulgar, but not all of them are brainless. Activities that are beneficial to physical and mental health are only held in private gatherings. Wayne took a walk around the exhibition hall on the second floor and saw the stockings he designed in the civilian product area. He sincerely recruited partners, only outside Windsor. The Landau family has invested in many industries, from military industry to people's livelihood. Although there are many fields involved, the focus is still on the financial sector. First, they cut the money from leaks and then invest in other industries. Compared with the financial industry, other industries are obviously far behind. Austin has no interest in investing abroad. Once a hot commodity appears, it will cooperate with foreign friends through bidding. Wayne walked around the venue and was most interested in the military exhibition hall. It was full of military models. The second floor exhibition hall was very large. Wayne met many celebrities along the way. As FLA said, their appearance may not be very good, but their knowledge and cultivation are definitely beyond reproach, especially their temperament, which is elegant. There were also many social elites who took the initiative to talk to Wayne, repeatedly confirmed that he was just an unknown person, handed over a business card and left politely. Wayne looked at his watch. It was 4 o'clock. It was almost time to go to the buffet restaurant for dinner. He climbed the stairs and headed straight to the 4th floor. He didn't see any guests except himself. Busy, everyone is busy, please be busy. Wayne picked up the plate and picked up a sausage and 2 slices of bread to make a sandwich. Before he opened his mouth, he saw a familiar figure walking towards him. Blonde short hair, the lady's suit is meticulous. Megan. Master Wayne, you are here as expected. Why, you have been looking for me for a long time. Wayne looked at the sandwich on the plate and handed it over in a friendly manner. Megan, do you want some? Megan shook her head expressionlessly. She was able to find Wayne in the first place because Austin used the elimination method. Wayne would not stay in the exhibition hall for too long, nor would he go to the lecture hall and conference room. In order to maintain his personality of not being close to women, he would deliberately avoid the ladies present. To sum up, Wayne can be found in the cafeteria, and it has to be fast. If it is too late, Wayne will just pat his butt and leave. Megan did not explain these words to him in person, but went straight to the point. Master Austin is waiting for you in the conference room on the 3rd floor, please follow me. He's looking for me. Wayne's heart skipped a beat. As expected, Old Den was quiet for a while and started playing dirty tricks again. Yes. Excuse me, are you with Mr. Austin? Before, Madam represented the master to negotiate business with an overseas company. Megan replied truthfully, there is only the master in the conference room, no messy women, Please rest assured. Is this what he asked you to tell? Yes. Wayne pouted, so he didn't like Austin. The old man was too accurate in judging him, just like the roundworm in his stomach. I'll ask FLA to buy a bottle of anthelmintic when I get back. Third floor. Megan took Wayne through the corridor of the conference room. Many social elites have found their sponsors. The two sides had a pleasant negotiation and were ready to go to the fourth floor to open a bottle of red wine to celebrate the cooperation. Although these people didn't know Wayne, they were familiar with Megan. They knew that she was the housekeeper of the Landau family, and Austin's secretary, assistant, and lover. For a while, many people cast curious eyes on Wayne, guessing his identity. Where did the lucky guy come from? Megan knocked on the 2000 conference room, opened the door and invited Wayne to enter, and she stood guard at the door. Wayne had a toothache, but still walked in. In the conference room, Austin stood in front of the window, playing with the ancient silver coins that he never let go of, leaving Wayne with an especially deep back. Wayne looked around and found that there were indeed no messy women. They also came to the window and stood side by side with Austin. X2. 10 minutes later, Austin slowly said, "To be honest, I don't like you. I used to like you, I am like you now, and I guess I can't change it in the future. I am the same." Wayne nodded and admitted that what Austin said was true. Like him, he was a straightforward person who said what he wanted to say. This was the first time that Austin took the initiative to talk to him, which was of great significance. Wayne wanted to hear what the other party wanted to say. "But you are a student of He. Austin looked out the window, glanced at Wayne, and continued, "Landau is a tulip family, a former member of the Tulip Knights, and has been loyal to the royal family for generations. After the establishment of the constitutional monarchy, the royal family retreated behind the scenes to rule but not govern, and power was decentralized to every citizen. The Tulip Knights were disbanded, and 14 families were established by the order of the royal family. These 14 families received start-up funds and invested in various fields in Windsor, including economy, politics, culture, military, or magic. Austin briefly popularized the Tulip family, and then told the rise and fall of the Landau family, a long history, and talked for half an hour. So, why are you telling me this? Wayne. Wayne sweated at the corners of his eyebrows. It might be an illusion. After careful consideration, he felt that Loudon was explaining his affairs. In the future, he will be the heir of the family. When Loudon is gone, he will take care of his wife and children. Outrageous. Where is the teacher? Your husband is crazy. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 156. After saying so much, you should be able to understand what I mean. How should I say, yes or no? Austin played with the ancient silver coins and looked out the window at the financial city. Wayne's eyes twitched. I probably understand, but maybe I understand it wrong. It's a bit unbelievable. After all, our relationship, you know. You understand correctly, that's what I mean. Austin spoke loudly, snorted coldly, and added, "Don't be too happy too early. If I didn't have a choice, it wouldn't be you." How can I have no choice? Veronica is excellent. She's not good. She's too kind. She also inherited her mother's flaws and her eyesight is amazing. What do you mean, I'm not kind? Wayne was very dissatisfied with Austin's evaluation and suggested that Austin go to the villain camp to inquire. Who doesn't know that he is honest and trustworthy? Oh, the villains really don't know. Like the thousand-eyed demon, like Sebastian, he doesn't know how he died until he died. Looking at it this way, he even deceived the villain, so he is indeed not very kind. But putting aside the process and only looking at the results is not a kind of justice. He just didn't stand in the light and fight the monsters. Wayne was very dissatisfied with Austin's evaluation, but Austin thought his evaluation was very pertinent. He glanced at Wayne and frowned. "You have the slate in your hand, right?" Boom. There was a thunder on the ground, causing Wayne's mind to turn upside down. He frowned fiercely. The slate and other things should have been taken away by the Death Church. They suddenly fell into madness. "You don't need to tell me this. You are the only one who survived, and you are the only one who remains conscious. You can say whatever you want. Plus what I know about you, these are definitely not the truth." Austin said calmly, "I don't know what method you used to kill a golden mage. That is your secret. I have no interest in asking. It doesn't matter whether the slate is in your hand. I have no intention of taking it away. If you say no, then it's okay. Dude, do you really know the value of this slate?" Wayne remained expressionless as he analyzed what Austin said and guessed that the other party didn't know. "The Ministry of Magic once wanted to interview you, but I stopped you. Put away that slate and don't make any more trouble. This matter is over." Austin continued, "There is also the matter of Bruce. It ends here. Don't appear in this capacity again." Wayne broke out in a cold sweat after hearing this, wondering how the other party knew everything. If the slate was Kerr who informed the Free Mage Alliance, it would not be surprising for Austin to receive the information. "What is the situation with Bruce?" "The Holy See has an undercover agent from the Free Mage Alliance." "Atlee or Gunther?" "Well, you two guys with thick eyebrows and big eyes actually betrayed the Holy See and Heaven." "No, it shouldn't be these two, otherwise the fact that he is a reincarnated angel would be exposed." "Are you curious why I know so much?" Austin held the ancient silver coin, and without waiting for Wayne to deny it, said directly, "It's not that I have too much energy, but that you are too ostentatious in doing things, thinking that you are hiding it well, but you don't know that every move is seen by others." He stared at Wayne and said, "People who do great things will never put themselves in the most dangerous situation, let alone stand in front of the stage openly. This is just like the Tulip family. It's not that we monopolize all walks of life, but the royal family, power has never been delegated, the royal family has always ruled this country." "Mr. Alston, how did I expose Bruce's identity?" Wayne wanted to know the answer and promised not to do it again next time. "You used blood magic. No black magician in London can do it. The last time the Blood Tyrant came to Dragonheart Island, you were also there. It's that simple. There is no evidence. Once suspicion arises, the crime is established and the evidence is not important." Austin said, "I also stopped this matter. I said that you are Hefei's student. If you are in trouble, she will have a headache, and I don't want to give her a headache. Really or not, we are so similar, you must be a dead ghost too." Wayne expressed doubts. According to Veronica's complaints and the tidbits he heard outside, Austin was a standard playboy, and he had basically been in and out of famous ladies in London. A dead man is just a pervert, so why should he be a good husband? At this point, Wayne no longer doubted that Austin was planning to find him as his successor, and helped him get out of trouble twice in a row. He was not one of his own, and would only wipe his ass again and again if he was crazy. However, he still couldn't figure it out. "Mr. Alston, I still don't understand." "Just call me Austin, and you'll call me that in public from now on." "No problem." Wayne shrugged and said clearly, "I have a lot of thoughts about Veronica. You should know this. With your eyesight, you must be able to see that I am very excellent in character. Choosing me as your heir is equivalent to pushing Veronica into a pit of fire. Can you bear this?" Alston, dis. Therefore, if he had no choice, he would not go to Wayne. "Austin. Even if I don't choose you as my heir, Veronica will jump into the fire pit, Austin said with a dark face. You have so much confidence in me. Wayne raised his chest and raised his head. He felt a lot more energetic after receiving the approval from his father-in-law. Austin remained silent. Referring to the successful cases of 20 years ago, his baby daughter would probably, make the same mistakes again. When Austin pursued SPHY, there was a strong old man who tried to stop him. He was SPHY's teacher and played the role of Austin now. SPHY gave up the election of the saint and was deceived into marriage by social scum. The old man was almost angry to death on the spot. He returned to the headquarters of the Church of Nature and never contacted SPHY again. At this moment, Austin became the old man, Veronica became SPHY, and Wayne became the new generation of social scum. Austin was not confident in Wayne, but in himself. The damn social scum will definitely have the last laugh. I didn't want to find you at first, even if you look like me. Austin skipped the unpleasant topic, until I confirmed that you are Bruce. I reluctantly nodded. You may have a lot of bad things. As he spoke, he saw Wayne's slightly raised mouth corners, and his face was dark and long. Asking him to say good things about Wayne is really more uncomfortable than killing him. Austin. You may have many bad things, but there are more bad things that have not been discovered, Austin snorted and finished. Got it, you praise me for being low-key. Wayne shrugged and took it as a compliment. Pick up the documents on the table and follow me. In the next 3 hours, I have a speech and several business partners to meet. You follow me throughout the whole process. You can keep silent but you can't leave. Austin didn't want to stay in the same room with Wayne. Every breath he took smelled like social garbage. He felt that the air quality in London was unprecedentedly bad. Wayne picked up the documents and followed behind him. To be honest, he only wanted to do magic now and was not keen on business activities, but it was rare for the relationship to ease, and Austin's stinky face looked quite interesting, so he would be a secretary today. In addition, with the identity of the heir of the Landau family, it was equivalent to finding an organization in Windsor, which would make it much easier to do things. Thinking of this, Wayne's heart sank. He was not a Windsor native, but a spy from Frank next door. Did Austin know? Rightward arrow. His spy skills are not high, and his partner Lily is not a magician, and her professional skills are limited, not the top ones, and can be described as cannon fodder who takes chances. The heir of the Tulip family is such an important position, it is impossible for Austin not to investigate it clearly. Could it be that Loudon is also an undercover? Wayne's eyes widened. The powerful Frank intelligence agency, through the old Wong next door, has placed spies in the Tulip family. This is the Queen's right-hand man. What's next? Will the old Wong also change the royal bloodline? For the next 3 hours, Wayne accompanied Austin all the way, with a blank expression like Meghan, pretending to be the other party's secretary. In the lecture hall, Austin was passionate and outlined a great blueprint, and the scene rang out warm applause again and again. He also applauded below, and the applause was given to Wayne, and he smiled with special emotion. Wayne, what are you so moved about? He pushed your daughter into the fire pit. What, you are the main culprit? That's fine. Several social elites who had met Wayne before were extremely upset at this moment. Damn the stinky boss, why pretend to be a newbie in the workplace? Is it fun to fool newcomers? They should have guessed it long ago. The venue was either the rich or the elite, and the unknown people could not get an invitation. Wrong 100 million, heartbroken. Socialites also looked at Wayne sideways, guessing his relationship with Austin. They had not invested before, and the effect would definitely be greatly reduced if they went now. Wrong 100 million, heartbroken. After the speech, Austin left the venue amid warm applause, and took Wayne to 3 conference rooms one after another to interview several business partners. Whether the content of the discussion is important or not, it can be explained clearly on the phone. If they have to meet and communicate, it is nothing more than bringing Wayne to make a familiar face. Be bolder, this business meeting is a signal sent by Austin to the outside world, and the identity of the little white face standing next to him is extraordinary. Everyone, it can be seen that the illegitimate child is going to be formal. As expected of you, you have the final say in your family. The illegitimate son was officially married in front of you, and your wife clapped her hands in joy. Austin, your speech just now was really good. Are you sure you don't want to cooperate with me? 2 men and 1 woman walked over in the corridor of the conference room. Ignoring the bust of female secretary, the 2 men should be father and son, and their eyebrows are quite similar. The younger one has a handsome appearance, blonde hair and blue eyes, and a good temperament. He has the aristocratic style of the old London Union Jack. The older one is well maintained, a handsome middle-aged uncle, but a little bald. He seems to have a high social status in London. He calls Austin by his name and doesn't speak in a timid manner like others. Barney, I don't remember sending you an invitation. Austin frowned and looked at the other party, and nodded slightly to the young man who greeted him respectfully. Owen, you have performed very well recently and robbed a lot of my business. The young man named Owen bowed his head modestly. It was Mr. Landau who gave up those businesses. I just picked up a ready-made one, that's all. Ha ha ha, if you robbed it, you robbed it? Austin is an elder and won't care about these small changes with you. Barney patted his son proudly and looked at Wayne curiously. Austin, don't you want to introduce him? A younger generation of the family. Austin said it in passing, and did not intend to take the opportunity to promote Wayne. The time has not come yet, and he has to wait a little longer. Youngster, he is your illegitimate child, right? Barney mocked. Why, we can't find an heir, so we can only pull out the illegitimate child to make up for the loss. Wayne rolled his eyes. In addition to skin color, hair color, facial contour, but also hairstyle, clothing, aesthetic taste, and personal habits, how do he resemble Austin? He also had an illegitimate child. He must be blind. He is not my illegitimate son. Austin's face darkened, but he thought that in this way, Wayne would be the perfect heir, and Veronica would not have to jump into the fire pit. Well, not if you insist. Barney smiled meaningfully. After all, it's up to you to decide whether it's right or not. It only depends on the royal family's nod. In Barney's view, Wayne and Austin were cut out of the same mold. They looked like dogs, they were sanctimonious, they looked decent, but in reality they were full of evil. Well, it looks more and more like it. If he were to say that these 2 people were not related by blood, he would not believe it even to death. Austin, please reconsider your previous cooperation. It will be beneficial to both of us. No, I have better cooperation channels. Austin refused directly and left with Wayne and Megan. Wayne heard the muffled F word behind him and was very puzzled. Who is that old man? Why is he so short of hair? Isn't he cold? The last time I met such an arrogant guy, it was in the newspaper the next day. What did the newspapers say? Drunk driving, the car went straight into the River Tame. Only a wig was found at the scene. You remember it wrong. Austin didn't bother to speak, stopped and looked at Wayne. I have also read this report. There was no car accident, only cement buckets were found at the scene, and the person who died was a damn social trash. Wayne scratched his nose and kept talking. Why should he look in the mirror? Megan. It turns out that 1 + 1 is really greater than 2. The 2 men made strange voices in a loud voice, making sure that the father and son behind them could hear clearly. Compared to their loud conspiracies, Barney's whispered curses were obviously much younger. Austin originally didn't want to do this. He preferred to do it behind the scenes, but somehow Wayne got involved in the conversation. After walking a few more steps, Megan answered Wayne's doubts, Barney Boswell, his son Owen Boswell. Boswell is one of the Tulip family. The family's main industry is forestry, and in the coal mining industry, steam engines suddenly emerged, and the Boswell family's social influence reached its peak. They began to invest in other fields and competed with the Landau family. The Boswell family can be regarded as engaged in energy for the time being. With the advent of the coal age, they have accumulated a lot of wealth in the past 2 generations. However, as the world gradually enters the electric age, the status of coal has become particularly embarrassing. Let's say coal is not good. It can be converted into electricity that is easy to transport and use. Let's say coal is good. Sooner or later, this thing will be dug out one day. You won't be able to sit on your laurels for long. If you don't transform, you will be dead. The transformation of the Boswell family did not delve deeply into the energy field. They refused to invest in the oil field and aggressively entered the arms market, preparing to take a share of the pie in a world war. Because it entered the market late, all the cakes in Windsor have been divided, and currently it can only cooperate with friends overseas. The largest cooperation partner is Prussia's Burke Heavy Industries, which is rich in high-quality steel and has an excellent reputation. It is especially good at manufacturing cannons and tanks. After all, overseas is overseas and there is no guarantee. The Boswell family wants to gain a foothold in Windsor. Only with confidence can they not be afraid of their partners turning their backs. It's okay to say that this family's vision is not good. They predict that there will definitely be a war or a world war in the future. Or to say that their vision is good, they firmly believe that oil cannot become the first energy source in the future. Forestry and coal mining are the profitable businesses of the Boswell family. They have always been obsessed with magic. There are many capable people in the family. Seeing that Wayne was indifferent and didn't take his opponent to heart, Austin snorted in his heart and unleashed a wave of hatred. Barney once proposed marriage to me for his son, hoping to promote further cooperation between the two families, but I rejected it. Wayne, Dan. The Boswells, right? He remembered it. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 157. On the night of the business party, Wayne followed Austin throughout the whole process. He had to go through every business contract, including the speech. Before, this was Megan's job, but tonight it was all handed over to Wayne. The big boss will not do unnecessary things. Every action that is repeatedly emphasized must have its deep meaning. The elites, celebrities, and dignitaries present are not fools. The answer is on their foreheads, so how can they not see it? Austin sent out a signal that the illegitimate son of the Landau family will return to the family as an heir. Today, he brought him out for a stroll to let everyone be mentally prepared in advance. Old Deng is very busy. Almost everyone in the whole Landau, from the White Road to the Black Road, from politicians to businessmen, has his way. The more friends he has, the more social events he has. In Wayne's words, Austin is on the list everywhere, money opens the way, and with billions of people, he has become the head of Landau. Wherever he goes, he can make the other party give him a face. He thought he would leave early, but Austin had too many friends. Even if it was just a small business party, there were hundreds of people waiting in line just to show their faces in front of Austin. The business party ended at 8 o'clock, and Wayne followed Austin and was free at 10 o'clock. Good news, there was no second party, a proper party. Bad news, no meal. Forget about the buffet. Austin took a glass of champagne and said he would take a sip when he was tired. Wayne didn't like drinking, so he drank several glasses of orange juice and barely drank enough water. Seeing that the two of them were finally free, Healy smiled and walked towards them. Austin also smiled and stretched out his hand to his wife. "Thank you for your hard work. Are you exhausted?" Healy walked around Austin and stood in front of Wayne, adjusting the collar of his black suit, smiling in the corners of his eyes, and looking more and more satisfied. Austin squinted his eyes and took his hand back without saying a word. About 1/3 of the guests had not left. Seeing that the relationship between the illegitimate son and his wife was so good, they could not help but cast admiring eyes on Austin. As expected of the re-elected mayor of the financial city, his methods were really powerful. His wife treated the illegitimate son as her own son. If they had brought the illegitimate son home openly, the result would be predictable. He could not learn it. He deserved to make a lot of money. Facing the admiring eyes of the crowd, Austin held his chest and raised his head without any ripples. Although he did not know what these people were thinking, he did have the final say at home, sitting on the balcony, and his throne was extremely high. At 11 o'clock in the evening, the banquet officially ended. He took Wayne's arm and left the venue, with a smile on his face. Austin walked in front with a dark face. Although, he really did not like social garbage and thought Wayne and cement buckets were more suitable. Parking lot. FLA stood next to the black car. When she saw several people appear, she stroked her chest with one hand and bowed slightly. Master Wayne. Mr. Landau, MRS Landau. It turns out to be the Wayne family's housekeeper. FLA. Long time no see. Austin's face became even more sour, and he snorted heavily to show his disdain for the traitor. Ha! What are you snorting about? You're still fooling around outside so late. The keywords were triggered, and Healy responded immediately. Her fists were itching, and she wanted to find a face to relax. She let go of Wayne's arm, dragged Austin to another car, and invited Wayne to come to her house for dinner in 2 days. Family dinner. Unlike the last time, there were no students at this family dinner. Megan bowed slightly to say goodbye to Wayne. When she looked at FLA, the two housekeepers smiled and nodded. Sorry, FLA, I kept you waiting for a long time. There were some small accidents. Wayne sat in the back seat of the black car. If you don't mind, go back and ask the maid to prepare some food. I only drank a few glasses of orange juice tonight and I'm a little hungry. Master, the midnight snack is ready, all your favorite food. As expected of you, you are still so professional. Wayne sighed. FLA perfectly took care of his food, clothing, housing, and transportation, all aspects, inside and outside. I really don't know how he would live without this excellent housekeeper. October 15th. Today is Willie's birthday. As the group pet of the Strength and Faith Fitness Center, the Muscle Guys have arranged the birthday venue early. The gym is not open to the public today, and everyone only serves her. Although Willie lost her parents early, she has never lacked the love of her elders, especially the father's love. The mountains are breathtaking. As the boss today, she enjoys the highest status in the gym, exercises the king's rights, and says whatever she says, and everyone must obey her orders. This is no longer pampering, it can drown people alive. Wayne arrived at the gym at noon, and the birthday party started at afternoon tea time. He brought a gift, or 2 gifts. Wayne provided a set of sun gems, and Valkyrie used her mind to shape the gems into a knight's sword. Veronica and Chris arrived at 10 o'clock in the morning and carefully dressed Willie. Youth is capital, and there is no need to make up heavily. Simple light makeup is particularly brilliant. Willie attended in a princess dress, elegant in style, with fluffy skirts fluttering gently, and golden ponytails coiled up. Her smile was bright and happy, making people feel warm and want to protect this smile. Unfortunately, the owner of this smile is a funny guy, and she is not an elegant princess at heart. He was handsome for only 3 seconds, and soon he was exposed. The princess's 2 maids were played by Veronica and Chrissy. The princess was very satisfied with the service of the 2 servants, and each of them got a seal. Veronica had a black circle on her right eye, and Chris had a 6-stroke beard painted on her face. Because it was an order from the highest authority, they could not resist. LE.jpg. Wayne laughed out loud on the spot and kept laughing without giving any face. Then it was stamped. The currency symbol of Windsor, thickly blackened, was drawn on Wayne's forehead. The offensive and defensive momentum reversed, and Veronica and Chris chased him and left. It's a good thing that Wayne doesn't feel wronged, which means that Willie doesn't treat him as an outsider. There were also several little girls of college age who were not able to be stamped by the king. Those who were lucky enough were either Willie's best female friends or seniors in the gym, all of whom were Willie's favorite people. Aside from the elders who raised Willie, among his peers, Wayne is the only male who has been stamped. It means a lot. Coach Dick rolled his eyes. A sun was painted on his forehead, and there were several coaches with the same pattern, as well as their wives, who were all members of the Church of the Sun. As the head coach, Dick showed his distinction by making the sun on his forehead bigger than everyone else. But Wayne has his own symbol. It's so uncomfortable. You, that guy with the money on his forehead, you play the prince today. Willie raised her finger and pointed at Wayne, wearing white gloves that complemented the princess dress she was wearing. I'm afraid it's not the prince who is in need. Wayne raised his eyebrows, put one hand on his chest and obeyed the order. He took the gift box and ran all the way to Willie. He raised her hand and kissed the glove. I obey your orders, my princess. Willie smiled happily, and Wayne smiled very reservedly. The princess's neckline was slightly lower, and the prince was at a close distance. The scenery here was unique. There is no other meaning, the motivation is very simple. His European style has been skyrocketing recently, and all kinds of things are going smoothly. After thinking about it, he must have seen too much European style. Just in case the European atmosphere declines, let's watch some more. Princess, I don't think it's appropriate. Rightward arrow. Dick's tall figure stood behind Wayne as if teleporting. His muscles were steaming with heat, making Wayne feel a chill in his body. He could feel the fierce look in his eyes even if he didn't look back. If there's anything wrong, princess, you can do whatever you want, why do you need to interrupt? Wayne stood behind Willie, lowered his head and whispered into his ear, this person disobeys the king's orders and must have evil intentions. In my opinion, if he dares to disobey orders today and rebel tomorrow, he should be punished according to law. That makes sense. Willie nodded with a serious face and waved her hand, here comes someone, push the coachman to the guillotine. Dick's old face darkened, I bet he still had the coachman's script. However, why is Wayne a prince and he is only qualified to be a coachman? Dick knew why. Like that other person, he just didn't want to accept the cruel reality. When he saw that two soldiers came forward, one on the left and one on the right held his arms, and hurriedly said, Princess, it doesn't matter if I die. He absolutely cannot play the role of a prince. Look at his sultry face, he doesn't look like a prince at all. I'm happy with my lust, so I advise you not to worry about it. I'm happy with his lust, so I advise you not to worry about it. After a lot of drama, mainly because of the two maids' desperate suggestions, Wayne was not elected prince and was demoted to a princess knight. Dick received a small sign and hung it around his neck to stand in the corner. The corpse of the coachman died on the guillotine. Willie, if you hadn't taken the lead, I would have had a prince. Dick. The birthday party didn't end until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Willie's classmates were the first to leave. Willie sat among the gifts and enjoyed the fun of opening the blind box. Putting aside the gifts given by elders, my classmates have just entered the society and are short of money, so the gifts are very ordinary. Willie doesn't dislike it, she likes every piece very much. Veronica gave a pot of sunflowers, which she cultivated with her own hands. This pot of flowers will shine towards the sun during the day and towards Willie at night. Considering that she has little family resources and is a wealthy woman, the gifts prepared by herself are more sincere. Chris gave a white bracelet, which was also made by herself. It is a magic item engraved with moonlight faith, which can dispel negative energy and enable the holder to rejuvenate his body and mind during battle and strengthen his spirit. Willie liked it very much and promoted them to senior maids on the spot. Next up is Wayne's gift. After tearing open the packaging bag, there was a rectangular wooden box inside. Based on the size, Willie guessed that it contained a knight's sword. After opening it, it was indeed the case. Although the surprise was a little smaller, she still liked it very much. She held the hilt of the sword and waved it twice in her hand. "Thank you, Wayne, this gift is very special and I love it very much." "Princess, it's not the gift that's special, it's you." "We." Deadbodyprobe.jpg. Dick saw the value of the knight's sword at a glance. He silently dragged Wayne to the corner, put his arms around his shoulders and said, "This gift is too valuable. Isn't it inappropriate as a birthday gift?" Dick thought this knight's sword was too valuable. When it was Wayne's birthday, Willie couldn't hand over a gift of equal value. In a fit of rage, she would most likely give it to him for nothing that night. Dick thought less. Wayne really didn't have such sinister intentions. His intentions were even more sinister. Just as a goddess cannot satisfy his desire, what he wants is not a tree, but a forest. Strictly abide by the balancing strategy of a bowl of water is balanced, do not maximize the intimacy level, and never make a hasty move on one of them. Therefore, Wayne dared to pat his chest and assure Dick that he had taken precautions and the murder that Dick was worried about would not happen. In the past, Dick would punch a bastard like Wayne with evil intentions, but now that doesn't work. Wayne is a reserve knight. Even if he is dissatisfied, he can only complain and cannot use violence casually. Very unhappy. The birthday party is over. Veronica took the car back to Landau's house, and Chris left in Wayne's car. Willie didn't follow today. There were too many elders in the family, and her petty thoughts were seen through. Under Dick's instruction, 7 ants and 8 ants swarmed up and pressed her down. Veronica's family is full of assists, and Willie's side is full of enemies. Wayne House. Study. Teachers and students had endless snacks at the birthday party. They only enjoyed some snacks and black tea for dinner and started tonight's tutoring class in advance. Wayne was very serious during class, he needed this new knowledge. Chris was also very serious in her teaching, and Wayne found that she was very talented as a teacher, especially very patient with her students. It's a good thing, children will not lack preschool education in the future. On the other side, when Mona came uninvited, the tutoring class had already begun. She was sitting alone in the restaurant, very embarrassed facing the butler and maid. She came to Wayne with the purpose of letting him see her, and it really wasn't for this stuttering. It smells so good." In Fra's expectation, Mona would not become the hostess in the future, but the master was kind-hearted and nostalgic. He could not turn his back and deny anyone after putting up his trousers. There must be a place in the family, so he entertained her as a hostess. "Fra, eat more and eat well. I'll leave it to you for my coming-of-age ceremony." Mona didn't know what Fu La's plan was, she just felt that this housekeeper was so good and worthy of being her master, even the housekeeper was so gentle. After enjoying dinner, Mona sat in the living room for a while, confirmed that she would not be able to see the owner today, and left with a little regret. Very disappointed. Study room on the second floor. Tutorial ends at 10 o'clock. Chris closed the textbook and saw a beautifully wrapped gift box in front of her eyes. She didn't know why and looked at Wayne in confusion. "The last time you celebrated your birthday, I wasn't there and missed it." Wayne put the gift box on the desk. "Veronica picked out the gift for me at that time. I always remember that I specially prepared one as an apology." Not only did Wayne miss Chrissy's birthday in July, he also missed Veronica's birthday in May and her college graduation. At that time, he was warned by the big shot cement bucket and had to move to a remote countryside. Later, he met Sci-fi, and because of his identity as a teacher and high priest, he returned to London and lived incognito for a while. I have been offline for a long time, gained a lot, and also missed a lot. Chris smiled slightly when he heard this. I like the gift Veronica prepared for you very much. This one is unnecessary. You don't have to take it to heart. Having said that, I have already sent it to you, so there is no reason to take it back. Wayne grabbed Chris's hand and pressed it on the gift box. You open it first and take a look. If you don't like it, I'll take it back. That's okay, right? This unnecessary action was obviously meant to take advantage. Chris was too low level to notice it, and she was quite moved. She politely opened the wrapping paper and found the same rectangular wooden box. She guessed it was a short sword. As expected, it was indeed a short sword, but its value was much higher than she imagined. The appearance of this short sword is as smooth as a mirror, shining with a faint moonlight. The sword body is light, and the hilt is inlaid with an aqua blue gemstone. The delicate magic lines and exquisite workmanship add a sense of mystery to this dagger. It looks cool and elegant, and is extremely beautiful. Chris fell in love with it after just one look. She shook her head to dispel her greed and refused. It's too precious and too special. I can't accept it. Chris, it's not the gift that's special, it's you. Chris, wait a minute, I seem to have heard this somewhere. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 158. Wayne grabbed Chris's hand and slowly placed it on the hilt. The delicate texture passed through his fingertips, and the magic power was transmitted, dizzying the moonlight like condensed light, reflecting Chris's eyes, and her breathing accelerated uncontrollably, and she couldn't refuse it. I want it. Take it, just consider it as a loan from you, and you can give it to me anytime I want in the future, Wayne whispered. The distance was very close, and Chris's ears were red. Women are born unable to refuse beautiful things, and Chris is no exception. Moreover, this dagger is related to the belief in moonlight, and she really can't muster up the courage to refuse. But a woman's intuition also told her that it was the devil's whisper in her ears, and she would definitely pay a price if she believed it. After pondering for a while, weighing the pros and cons, he finally couldn't refuse, and whispered, Wayne, I'll borrow it for a while and write you an IOU, okay? Forget the IOU, I believe in your character, Chris, and you will definitely return it in its original state, just like new. Chris sighed, blaming herself for not being able to control her hands. If she had held on a little longer, she would have survived. However, although I'm keeping it for you, but... Chris looked at the dagger in her hand and found that Wayne was still holding her hand. She smiled politely but awkwardly, and slowly pulled her hand out, pulled it out. What a great strength. X2. But this sword has a high artistic value. After all, you are a priest of the Church of Nature. Is it really okay to lend it to me? Will your teacher blame you? Chris still felt that something was wrong. She couldn't refuse, so she asked Wayne to think about it again. It doesn't matter. Then I'll say that you seduced me and I lost control. I made a mistake that all men would make. Wayne said that it was not a big problem and he could always pass the buck. Chris, winky face, wouldn't she be a bad girl in the eyes of Veronica's mother? Well, let her be bad. Veronica's mother was the first to be immoral and snatched Wayne away when she was not prepared. Chris put away the dagger and thanked Wayne again. She has this kind of personality. Whoever treats her well, she will treat him better. She is very afraid of owing favors and even more afraid of not being able to repay them. That's what we call an honest person. By the way, Chris, I have designed a few new stockings and clothes. I'll trouble you later while it's still late. Wayne showed his true colors, and the progress of the strategy reached the target, refreshing today's settlement screen. Can tomorrow? Chris blushed and lowered her head. When she was a model before, Willie was there. It was shameful but not that shameful. Tonight she was alone, too embarrassed. After all, those skirts are really short. No, tomorrow is the time for me to submit the test report. You know, I was busy until midnight last night. I'm really sorry to bother you, Wayne sighed, saying that the other side was too urgent and he had no choice. Chris hesitated for a long time, and couldn't find a reason to refuse, so he could only follow Wayne into the bedroom. This, is it too short? No, it's beautiful with stockings. What is this? This is called garter stockings, which are composed of stockings and garters. In order to better reflect the charm of women, the skirt is so short. Still, too short. Will anyone buy it? Chris, I am a professional fashion designer and have produced popular items. You can question other things, but you can't question my professional level. Okay, I'll go back to the room to change. No, it's too troublesome to run around. It's so embarrassing for the maid to see you. It's right here. I'll lock the door and turn around to promise not to look. I will never accept gifts next time. Landau family. Second family dinner. Unlike the last time, the atmosphere was much more harmonious tonight. Healy smiled throughout the whole process and gave her asshole husband a lot of good looks. Austin also changed from turning a blind eye to turning a blind eye last time. When he saw Wayne secretly looking at Xiao Baike, he immediately closed his eye. Out of sight, out of mind, so be it. Veronica changed into a white evening dress as her mother requested. She rarely wore skirts and only wore them on important occasions. She couldn't understand why a piece of social trash made her change into a skirt twice. Moreover, although the atmosphere was good, she felt something was strange. Yes, there was no her in the atmosphere. Veronica. Wayne, W. Veronica, what tricks did you use? Why didn't Mr. Landau sneer at you? Wayne, yes, it's really strange when you put it that way. Veronica, bastard, don't run after dinner, see how I deal with you. Wayne, if you don't run, you're an asshole. After dinner, Austin stood up and walked towards the study. Wayne, come with me, I have something to tell you. He chose the study where he discussed important matters with family members, not the study where he entertained guests and strangers. Veronica was stunned and horrified as she watched the two guys in black leave. She swallowed hard and said in disbelief, Mother, did you hear that? Mr. Landau talked to the social scum. This was the first time that Austin had communicated with Wayne in Veronica's memory. She thought the two would never talk in their lives. Don't talk nonsense, Wayne is not a social scum, and he is not Mr. Landau, he is your father, he corrected. Hiss hiss hiss. Veronica took a breath and opened her mouth wide, I have a father. He. Nonsense, how did you come to be without a father? Even if you lay eggs, there must be a male. Veronica also knew that she said nonsense, and quickly came to Sci-fi, and said in surprise, what I mean is, Mother, will you not quarrel with father in the future? I never quarreled before. Yeah. Veronica nodded repeatedly, her eyes slightly moist, and continued, then you have to promise that you will not beat him for no reason in the future. Mother, you say something. I'm afraid this won't work. Sci-fi was a little embarrassed, and seeing her daughter's face full of disappointment, she hurriedly coaxed, the reason is hard to explain, you will understand it in the future, one day you will understand that when a particularly annoying face appears in front of you, you will be unable to bear it and punch it. Veronica didn't understand, and after thinking about it, there was indeed such a face. She didn't think about it and asked, Father and Wayne are acting strange today. I suspect that there is something wrong between them. She couldn't think of a suitable adjective for a moment, so she gestured with her hands a few times and said seriously, there is a secret between them. They must have reached some agreement. They will work together to do bad things in the future. That's right. Healy laughed out loud and corrected again, but it's not working together to do bad things. Wayne has to learn how to do bad things for the family. It's so funny, he still needs to learn. Mother, you haven't seen his day. Veronica was halfway through her words when she realized something was wrong. She said, Mother, what is Wayne's agreement for the family? Veronica felt that she had missed a lot. Everyone knew it, but she was excluded. Sphy stroked Veronica's golden hair. Your father chose Wayne as the heir, and he will be the male owner of the Landau family in the future. Why is it him? His last name is not Landau. Veronica was confused, and her face suddenly changed. Mother, it's hard, is it? Yes, it's just as you imagined. Sphy blinked, and her smile was very ambiguous. Fortunately, her reaction was not slow, and she was a little smart. Let her do it. Wayne is really my father's son. Veronica felt that the sky had fallen, her eyes were empty and lightless, and she murmured, although I always feel that they are very similar, they are similar in every way, but I never thought that Wayne would be my brother. I don't allow it, I don't want such a brother. Don't talk nonsense, how can Wayne be your brother? That bastard dare not mess around outside. Winky face. Sphy punched Veronica on the head and took back her previous words. This child is not like her. She didn't inherit any of her shrewdness and vision. Sure enough, the jerk husband was right. I can only rely on Wayne in the future. What's going on? Why can he become the heir of the Landau family? I have been squeezed out. Veronica pouted, very unhappy. Is there a possibility that his child will inherit the blood of the Landau family? Sci-fi reminded. Is there such a possibility? Huh. Study. Megan closed the door and quietly waited outside the door. Wayne glanced at the slowly closing door and felt strange. He seemed to hear something. It shouldn't be, the Landau family is very soundproof. Austin sat on the sofa, playing with the ancient silver coins in his hand, and found Monica, who was integrated with the black sofa, raised his hand and snapped his fingers. Megan pushed the door and walked in, carrying the black cat out of the house. Wayne secretly thought it was a pity that his hand was a step slower and missed the opportunity to raise it high. At the end of the month, there will be a bidding meeting in Lucerne City, the capital of Lucerborg, to determine a new partner. Austin played with the ancient silver coin and talked about the content of the bidding meeting. Lucerborg's full name is the Grand Duchy of Lucerborg. It has a land area of 2,500 square kilometers and is surrounded by France and Prussia. It is a small inland country, also known as a pocket kingdom. Although it is small, it has resources. The country is rich in iron ore resources. In the past 50 years, the economy has developed rapidly. The iron smelting and steel making industry is first class, and the industrial scale is considerable. It can be called a world-class steel power. The Landau family has a partner in France, which can provide a large number of high-quality coal mines. At the same time, Prussia next door also has a coal mining area next to it. You represent the Landau family in the bidding meeting. Our partners can fail, but Prussia must not win, said Aston. Wayne raised his eyebrows and smelled the smell of great power politics from business activities. On the surface, he was appeased and retreated, but his tricks never stopped. Is this a test for me? Whatever you think, it may or may not be. Don't feel pressured. One failure doesn't mean anything. Just treat it as paying tuition, Austin said nonchalantly. Wayne didn't know whether he really didn't care or pretended not to care. No matter how he looked at it, this was a task assigned by the royal family. As the right-hand man of the royal family, the Tulip family should do their best. By the way, the Boswell family will also participate. They also have partners in France. Austin smiled and looked at Wayne. You don't want them to win, right? That's a must. Wayne raised his eyebrows and was about to swear on his chest that he could lose and the Boswell family must go bankrupt. If they take the meat from his bowl, this family will be dead. When the words came to his lips, Wayne figured it out. His emotions were mobilized by Old Deng. It was not certain whether the Boswell family had proposed marriage. But it's possible, but it won't work. This family is doomed. I will go to Luzul City at the end of the month to negotiate this deal. Prussia can't win, and the Boswell family can't win either. Wayne took the task. He was worried about others going. He felt uncomfortable when he thought that the Boswell family might win. He felt uncomfortable just thinking about it. If it became a reality, he would be pissed to death. Wayne was speechless. Old Deng saw through his heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys, and used a little trick to leave him with no way out. No, it was clearly a strategy when looking in the mirror. Wayne, remember this sentence, don't say too much. Credit is consumable. Whether doing business or being a person, always leave room for yourself. Austin laughed, I didn't expect you to negotiate this deal. The Landau family has limited influence in franc, and our partners do not have a quotation advantage. I let you go there to learn how to write failure in learning. Isn't that a big loss? There are so many principles in the business world. As long as you pay enough tuition and work hard, you can learn all the principles. Austin glanced at Wayne. His family is not short of money, so he can spend it. At this moment, Austin is shining. Wayne was overwhelmed by the other party's money ability. It is not his character to be oppressed blindly. He decided to do something to reverse the situation. At least, he had to pull the complacent father-in-law down from above. Wayne took a deep breath, I understand. I will complete the task, try to win even if I lose, and try to gain more benefits for the family. It's good that you understand. I will send a professional team to accompany you. They will come up with a charter and plan for you. Austin nodded with satisfaction. Although he is very similar to him, he is really young and needs to polish for a while. Austin, I carefully selected a gift for the family dinner. The file box is in the car. You will definitely like it. Wayne's face was solemn. No, you don't have to feel that you owe me anything. I said before that if I had no choice, I would not like you. Austin raised his eyes contemptuously and continued to play with the ancient silver coin. He has seen all kinds of scenes. Wanting to please him, haha, is a fool's dream. It's the latest stockings. Austin's hand holding the ancient silver coin froze slightly, and he didn't say a word. Silence is golden. Austin, do you want it or not? If not, I'll take it back. Well, bring it over and have a look. After all, it's a new model from Heapy. I think it's necessary to check it to avoid her losing money. Austin didn't blush or breathe heavily. He loves his wife, that's all. No other meaning. Megan, there are stockings in my car. Austin said he wanted to. Cough cough cough. Austin coughed repeatedly and glared at Wayne fiercely. Damn social rubbish, he has no tolerance at all. How can he do big things in the future? He snorted coldly and said to the outside of the door, Megan, there is a file box in the young master's car. Bring it over. The things are very important. Don't make it public. Megan. She heard it all. It's just stockings. There's no need to hide it. The camera turned and it was 10 minutes later. Megan glanced at the people wearing white gloves, put down the file box expressionlessly, and thoughtfully set up a soundproof barrier when closing the door. Austin put on white gloves and stood in front of the file box, rubbing his hands. He turned his head fiercely when he heard the laughter behind him. Wayne looked serious. Damn social garbage. Damn cement bucket. Deliberately making him look bad, this matter is not over today. Click. Wayne opened the file box, and the moment he pushed the box open, Austin seemed to see a light rising into the sky. What is this? I made the finished garter stockings on the previous design drawing. Don't worry, no one has ever worn it. Wayne put on white gloves, took out the stockings and handed them to Austin, and picked up the garter to explain how to wear them. It was somewhat redundant. Austin, such an upper-class person, did not need an instruction manual at all, but this was a necessary process. He was a designer, and the product was more attractive when he told it himself. The two of them talked and listened, and their serious looks seemed to be guarding Justice. Megan. This was the worst time Justice was blackened. Asshole, you're giving me this kind of thing as a gift? I can't use it. And it's too obscene. Just tell me if you want it or not. After all, it's your intention. It's your first time giving me a gift, so I can't refuse. Remember, today is an exception. Don't give me this kind of thing next time. It's an eyesore. Don't worry, I won't. Hey, these drawings are. Oh, some of the underwear I designed are too advanced in style. They will definitely not sell. They are considered waste drafts. I'll burn them when I get home. Don't burn them yet. You may have a misunderstanding of the market. Let me criticize how advanced they are. Austin took the manuscript and was stunned by the first design drawing. What do these lines mean? Are all your manuscripts so abstract? This is called a thong, a women's underwear. Wayne said faintly, strictly speaking, this clothing is now designed for men, but I made some minor changes. Austin's eyes lit up and asked, you are a genius, tell me, how did you change it? Imagine, if this underwear is matched with garters, how can gentlemen resist? Hiss hiss hiss. Austin imagined for a moment and stuffed all the manuscripts into his office drawer. Wayne, that's all for today. Make all the samples as soon as possible and send them all to me for approval before the end of the month. Can you do it? Don't underestimate me. I can survive until now because I'm not afraid of death. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 159. Austin left the study room with a suitcase, his step steady and his expression solemn. If you didn't know, you would think he was going to charge for justice. Wayne looked at the others back as he left, and his emotions were mixed. He knew he was going to die, but for Cece, he still chose to risk his life. How tragic and heroic. LE.jpg. Wayne admired him from the bottom of his heart for 0.25 seconds, and was looking forward to the good show that was about to be staged. He had a hunch that there would be a human cannon tonight, and it would fly far away with a bang. He rubbed his hands and went to the lawn downstairs to grab the front row. It was a pity that the servants had received professional training, otherwise they would definitely make a lot of money by setting up a small stall downstairs. After 2 steps, Wayne looked at Megan, the housekeeper who followed him. After a little thought, he saw through the truth and advised, Megan, you don't have to follow me. I won't meet the eldest lady tonight. As a pure passerby, Wayne recognized Megan's behavior of monitoring the pervert to protect the eldest lady. She is a good housekeeper who is loyal to her master, second only to FLA. As a pure heir, Megan's move is unnecessary. Strict defense will only delay the birth of the young master Lando. By then, not only will the young master and the young lady be offended, but also the master and the lady will blame him. Austin did not mention the son-in-law, and the word engagement was not mentioned from beginning to end, but this was his last stubbornness. Not saying it does not mean that it is not established, but he is just stubborn. From Wayne's point of view, he is not a saint. He will not leave his family alone just because he is a student of Sci-fi and silently dedicate his life to the Lando family. If you want the horse to run, you must give it grass. From Aston's perspective, it is not safe for an outsider with no blood relationship to be the heir, and the huge family wealth will be transferred to the other party sooner or later. Acquisition, this is my horse. Let the outsider continue the bloodline, complete the interest binding, both parties get what they need, and everyone will be fine. According to the formula deduction result, Wayne becomes the heir equals Aston sells his daughter. Wayne glanced at Megan, the master sold the eldest daughter, and the lady was counting the money. It is better not to meddle in other people's business, otherwise you will be asked to watch the gate in the future. Megan said expressionlessly, Master, this is what the lady said, she said you are in danger. Huh. Wayne was happy, what danger can I have, go away, make up a better reason and come back. Megan pondered for a moment, if this is your order, I am willing to execute it. Then, she turned and left. No beginning or end, how could I be in danger? Hey, there is murderous aura. Wayne's body straightened, put on a defensive posture, and looked at the end of the corridor along the source of murderous aura. Which assassin is so bold that he dares to sneak into the Landau family to assassinate the eldest son and heir? Veronica poked her head out and smiled and hooked her finger at him. Veronica. The smile is very sweet. It turns out to be the eldest daughter, then it's okay. Wayne stood there in silence, a drop of cold sweat dripping from the corner of his brow. In his impression, Veronica has never smiled so brightly. Megan, I think the teacher is right. Please accompany me on the next road. Megan. Wayne turned his head and looked, but there was no trace of Megan. She had disappeared long ago. Wayne, come here, I have something to tell you. Just say it here. X2. Seeing that Wayne was disobedient, Veronica sneered and walked out of the corner, then I'll go over, you stand still and don't move, don't go anywhere. It's so funny, how could he be honest? Wayne turned and ran, rushed into the study, and walked to the windowsill with a few steps, and jumped gracefully. Asshole, don't run. If you don't run, you're an asshole. Wayne bent his knees and landed, dispersing the momentum of falling, and went straight into the grove at the end of the lawn after landing. He failed in the 100-meter sprint, and was grabbed by Veronica's collar just after running 50 meters. No way, you still transformed. Wayne glanced at the fine white light on Veronica's arm, and immediately denounced the other party's cheating behavior. Veronica just sneered, just like the evil dragon took away the princess and locked her in the evil castle, dragged Wayne's collar and took him to her exclusive villa. Click. The door was locked. Wayne wanted to run again, but Veronica grabbed his collar and hung him on the wall. He didn't resist this time. The dragon blood was extraordinary, and ordinary people couldn't resist it at all. He thought that there would be many such interactions in the future, and let his body learn to adapt from now on. Old Deng adapted well. Question Austin, understand Austin, become Austin. Tell me, how did you get together with that damn Mr. Landau? Veronica's eyes were blazing, and she wanted to tear Wayne into 7 pieces immediately. What is an heir? These bastards only care about the interests of the family. Have they ever considered her opinion? The more she thought about it, the angrier she got, and the more she thought about it, the more her fists itched. There happened to be a particularly disgusting face in front of her, so she raised her fist. She didn't hit it. Thinking of what Sci-fi said, she refused to punch Wayne. This is a long story. It started more than 7 months ago. That night I was eating a potato dinner at home, and a magic girl in a black robe broke into the detective agency. Shut up and get to the point. Veronica punched Wayne in the face. She endured it, but she couldn't. Wayne covered his nose and said in a long and short way, because of physique, you know, social garbage and social garbage will always attract each other, and he appreciates my talent very much. Bah, shameless, you two are bastards. Veronica was furious, angry, and furious. She grabbed Wayne's arm, threw him on the sofa with a silky shoulder throw, and then pressed him under her body. She wore a white evening gown and skirt tonight. This is not the point. The point is that Veronica looked down on the two social scums, speaking at a fast speed, like a machine gun. Wayne was pressed on the sofa, looking at the face getting closer and closer, and his mouth opened wide. A string of question marks floated across Veronica's forehead. What is this operation? Is it the latest expression of admitting mistakes? Wayne closed his mouth and saw Veronica's confused face, then slowly said, "It tastes like dessert, and the sugar intake is too much, but I don't recommend you to do strenuous exercise after a meal, which will hurt your body. Just control your diet in the future." Veronica. Wayne, W. How can you be so rubbish? Yeah, it's amazing. Bang. A loud noise. Wayne flew out of the window like a cannonball, and after landing, he slid along the lawn for a distance. He lay on his back on the ground, touched his face, and was careless. It turned out that he was the one who got into trouble tonight. Bang. There was another loud noise, and broken glass fell down. Wayne saw a dark shadow break through the window, fast and fierce, and accurately smashed into the depths of the woods. Austin, is that you? Wayne sat up on his back and looked happily in the direction of the grove. Although they were both flying, Austin flew much farther than him. Commercial Street, Wayne Detective Agency. Mona opened the office door as usual, and was surprised to see Wayne in the boss's chair. "Boss, you actually came to work. What are you saying?" "I have to ask you for permission before I go to work." Wayne glanced at Mona and lowered his head to write quickly. He should have been studying faith magic at Landau Manor now, but Sif was a little irritable, and Veronica was also irritable, so he suspended today's class just in case. After a while, when Veronica dares to face the bleak reality, it won't be too late for him to go to class. Click. Mona locked the office door and set up a soundproof barrier to prevent Kelly, the office assistant outside the room, from hearing the sound. "What's the matter?" Wayne looked up in confusion. The office, the boss, and the female employee in black silk stockings, he seemed to have seen this plot somewhere. "I want to discuss something with you, but I haven't found the opportunity before." Mona walked around the desk and came to Wayne. Using the method described by Gunther, she unbuttoned the collar of her shirt and sat on Wayne's lap. She hugged Wayne's neck, pressed down her chest, and called him master in a delicate voice. Wayne almost laughed out loud. It's not that Mona is not good looking, but that her skill bar is not full, and she is forced to show off her charm. The charm is not reflected, and the laughs are one after another. He picked up Mona and put her directly on the desk. He stood up and walked to the window, saying bluntly, "The detective agency stipulates that subordinates cannot talk to their superiors. Don't do such boring things in the future." "I know." Mona was discouraged. She said that the master would not buy this, but the archbishop insisted that it was okay. Now she was hated again. "Tell me, what's the matter? Did the Holy See give you another task?" Wayne waved his hand and asked Mona to leave the desk. His sitting posture was too upper class, and the plot was getting more and more like it. "It's related to the Papal States. The Archbishop sent the information back to the Papal States. The Pope arranged an envoy and wanted to meet with you." Mona jumped off the desk and buttoned her collar. "The Archbishop knew that you didn't want to reveal your identity, so he didn't confirm the time and place of the meeting. Please give me a reply when it's convenient for you." I said, "I'm very busy and don't want to see them." Mona lowered her head. The Archbishop also replied to the Papal States in the same way, but they said that they had to meet in any case. If the request fails once, then request twice. If it doesn't work twice, then request 3 times. The Church and the angels are not enemies. As long as you are sincere enough and keep persisting, you will definitely get the other party to nod. Seeing that she didn't speak for a long time, Wayne probably guessed the other party's routine. Just like picking up girls, in order to capture the angels, she insisted on being shameless. He raised his eyebrows. This might be an opportunity. The church is restricted by the agreement signed with the royal family and cannot send a legendary wizard to serve as the Archbishop of the Windsor district. Gunther is capable but not outstanding. He is just a golden wizard. It is normal that he didn't find the bug of the Golden Rule Bible. The Pope's messenger is different. The Papal States has found at least 2 or 3 of the 7 reincarnated angels. They are very experienced and can definitely prove that he was wronged. Speaking of which, although Wayne thinks that more vests are better, he is not keen on the angel's vest. Unlike the Death Knight's vest, it is best to get rid of the angel's vest. If you can't get rid of it, they will never admit it. Reincarnating 7 angels at once must have an important mission. If they are brave enough, this power is enough to change the pattern of the God's chosen continent. The devils in hell are becoming more and more arrogant. They will do anything to descend to the human world. They even control the Death Knight and provide the sealed book to rob his obelisk slab. The 2 pieces of information are linked together. The reincarnated angels are most likely to come for the devil. In a big way, it is related to the God's chosen continent. The responsibility is too great and Wayne cannot bear it. In a small way, it is related to his own safety. At the least, he will be ruined, and at the worst, his body will be gone. Knowing that he is a fake angel, he still refuses to admit it for a little profit. This is not stupidity, but ignorance. Wayne decided to seize this opportunity and sighed, "Okay, your sincerity touched me. Go back and tell Gunther to contact the envoys of the Papal States. I am willing to meet them." "Really?" Mona was surprised. The Archbishop said that if you want to impress the angels, sincerity cannot be limited to persistence, but also let the other party gain actual benefits. She hasn't even mentioned the benefits yet, so why did she change her mind? For a moment, Mona suddenly realized. The Archbishop had a small vision and used the complex human heart to measure the angels in heaven, so he came to the wrong conclusion. She said that the Master would not care about benefits. He was holy, fearless, and sacrificial. Wherever he went, he was a moral model worthy of everyone's learning. At this moment, Wayne in her eyes stood in front of the window, and his whole body was glowing. It was indeed light, sunshine. Mona didn't care, she firmly believed that the Master brought his own brilliance. Tell Gunther that the Holy See is restricted in Windsor. The meeting place is set in the Grand Duchy of Lucerbarg, Lucer City, and the time is set at the end of the month. No one will be allowed to wait after that. Please rest assured, my master, I will convey the original words to the Archbishop, Mona said respectfully. Wayne nodded, hesitated for a moment and said to Mona, "You are a nun, not a tool. Don't believe whatever the Archbishop says, and don't do whatever I tell you to do. If you don't respect yourself, how can I respect you?" Mona was slightly stunned, and felt that her heart was filled with warmth. She smiled sweetly and said, "If it was the Master, I wouldn't feel wronged." "That's worse, you are perverted." Wayne rolled his eyes, "I'm giving you an order. From now on, whether there are outsiders or not, you are not allowed to call me master, call me boss, and don't add honorifics. Do you understand?" "Ah, this." Mona blinked. She enjoyed calling her master. The unique intimacy between master and servant is something that others can't learn or take away. Just the boss words, she was no different from the ordinary employees of the detective agency, and the distance was alienated. "Why, you don't listen," Wayne raised his voice. "No, the master's, the boss's orders I will strictly follow, even if they are so harsh." Mona wailed in her heart, trying to save it, "But will this be too offensive to you? Why didn't you feel offended when you sat on my lap just now?" Wayne complained, waving his hand and said, "It's settled, this is the master's task, do it obediently." "I have no problem." Mona straightened her chest, feeling great, and noticed that the master secretly glanced at her, and straightened it again. Proud.jpg. "You are quite naughty." Wayne pouted, his hands itched, and wanted to find a butt to educate. As soon as he thought that the other party was a pervert and punishment was equal to reward, he gave up the idea and pointed to the phone on the desk. "There is no time to lose, notify Gunther now, I also need to arrange time here, I have other tasks in Luzul City." "Is it to expel the devil?" Mona's eyes lit up. Wayne had a blank expression. "Why are there so many devils? Would you be happy only if the world is in chaos?" "Sorry, I shouldn't ask so many questions." Mona picked up the phone and called the cathedral. A few minutes later, she received a call back and told Gunther the time and place. Half an hour later, Gunther called back to say that everything was arranged. In order to prevent other forces from noticing the clues, the two golden wizards of St. Paul's Cathedral will not go to Luzul City. Mona will be responsible for the connection to ensure that Wayne meets the Pope's envoy smoothly. After all, she is an angel, and her identity is there. She can't do everything herself. If she reports it back to heaven, it will cause misunderstandings that the human church is not well entertained. Gunther arranged Mona to run errands for Wayne throughout the whole process, and there are other purposes. If necessary, she can act as a decompressor. The Pope likes this. 7 angels, if they cannot complete the mission, they will leave, leaving at least a few hostages behind. "You will be a secretary." Wayne waved his hand and let Mona turn around. "Not to mention, she has black stockings and glasses, and she has good looks and a good figure. Looking at the entire secretary world, she is quite amazing. And she is a pervert. From another angle, it becomes an advantage. Not bad, it's you." Wayne nodded with satisfaction. "I will give you a mission. There are about 10 days left. Go back and study business finance, steel industry, coal mines, and pay attention to Albert Steel Company. You can use it when the time comes. If there is something to do as a secretary, he will have a lot of free time when the time comes, and it will not delay his cultivation." "Perfect. Boss, I studied business management, economics, and law in college." Mona pushed her glasses seriously, and her own value was valued, and she secretly said that she would never let her master down. "Just from this expression, I am beginning to like you a little bit." Wayne nodded repeatedly. Once he accepted the setting of a perverted secretary, Mona looked a lot like a first love. Mona didn't say anything. When she heard the word "like," her heart beat wildly. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 160. October 27, London Airport. A group of business elites walked into the terminal hall, 15 people, both men and women. The team leader Nicholas wore gold-rimmed glasses, had an elegant temperament, and was meticulous in his suit and leather shoes. They were assistants arranged by Austin for Wayne. They did not hold high positions in the company and were generally around 30 years old. They had potential but had not yet made it. According to Austin, Wayne could regard these people as the initial team. If he had other ideas, he could also organize a team himself. After waiting for half an hour, the group waited for the central figure of this trip. Wayne walked into the terminal hall with his personal secretary Mona, and met Nicholas and his group in front of the VIP exclusive channel. "Mr. Wayne, I am Nicholas, your assistant to Lucerberg. This is your team." Nicholas extended his hand respectfully, attaching great importance to Wayne. According to the gossip, this trip may be doomed to fail, but the central figure is suspected to be the illegitimate son of the big boss. This is the first time for the other party to go abroad to negotiate business, which is of great significance. Seeing Wayne Nicholas in person dispelled his doubts. Rumors were too unreliable. What do you mean by suspected illegitimate children? It is clearly an illegitimate child. These eyebrows, eyes, and thick black hair, no matter how you look at it, it is a biological child. My chance to rise to prominence has come. Nicholas felt a little shaky under his feet, and he straightened his back quickly. Now is not the time to be shaky. He wants to prove to his new boss that he has the ability to complete tasks and the ability to manage a team. Hello, Mr. Nicholas, I know nothing about business, and I have to trouble you and everyone on this trip. Wayne shook Nicholas' hand and smiled slightly, neither distant nor intimate. The standard Austin smile, which he learned at the business party. You are joking. If even you know nothing about business, what is the difference between us who claim to be elites and illiterates? Nicholas shook his head again and again. Wayne not only knows how to do business, but is also a master. The family he chose when he was born is the best proof. He is the one who really can't do business. He made a wrong choice and wasted 35 years. Wayne smiled dumbly, too modest. Nicholas, you are a top student who graduated from GNH University. That is the recognition of the school. I have not been recognized in the society yet. There is still a lot to learn from you. The two of them praised each other for business. Wayne was condescending and admired him, and Nicholas self-deprecating and praising his boss. They got along very well. Afterwards, under the introduction of Nicholas, Wayne shook hands with other members of the team one by one. This is Ms. Mona, my personal secretary. If you can't contact me, you can report everything to her. Wayne introduced Mona to everyone. Because of the contract, Wayne trusts Mona very much. The latter will not betray him. She is second only to the butler and the dog on the list. Sensing Wayne's trust in Mona, Nicholas was particularly envious. It's good to have a promotion tool, and you can get promoted without lying. If he had it, he would have been able to enter and exit the big boss's office freely. It's not too late now. He still has business talent. He believes that he can impress the new boss with his talent and eat his meal standing up. Nicholas, tell me about your plan. Sit next to me on the plane. I want to see how your report is prepared. Mr. Wayne, our cooperative company in Frank is. Nicholas was well prepared and was not afraid of surprise tests. He analyzed his own advantages and disadvantages logically and carefully, not only in the mall, but also in the border environment of Lucerburg, being sandwiched between the two powers of Frank and Prussia. As he was talking, several black-clad men dressed as bodyguards came over. Nicholas thought they were Wayne's bodyguards, and Wayne thought they were bodyguards arranged by Austin for the team, and they didn't take it seriously. Until the few people got closer and closer, their speed did not slow down at all. Mona stood up and blocked Wayne with a cold face. Nicholas looked at her in surprise. It turned out that Miss Mona was fully functional and not just a secretary. Several black-clad men stopped, and one of them with a mustache glared at Wayne fiercely, and walked away with a very arrogant pace. Wayne. Again, it's you again? After the failure of the train and cruise ship, you changed to the plane this time, right? Don't mention it, he's quite ambitious. Boss, do you know him? Mona asked in a low voice. It can be seen that the little mustache is full of malice towards the master. It's not an accidental encounter, but he came to him on purpose. A bad fate. Wayne shook his head. After talking with Lily on the cruise ship, he roughly guessed the identity of the little mustache. The contact person is at home. As a Frank spy, Wayne's range of activities is only in London. If he leaves, he must report the reason. If he leaves without reason, he will be warned, so the little mustache came forward. Take the train to stop the train, take the cruise ship to stop the cruise ship, take the plane to stop the plane. It's not easy for the little mustache. Wayne's impression of Frank's intelligence agency has changed greatly. He admits that the other party's intelligence capabilities are very strong, and the spies are all over London. Not to mention driving by himself. Every time he leaves London by a vehicle that needs to be registered, the other party will show up at the first time. If nothing unexpected happens, Frank's intelligence agency has already infiltrated the transportation network of London. But there is one thing Wayne still hasn't figured out. Cruise ships and planes are all registered in advance, so it's understandable that they were checked, but train tickets are too outrageous. That night he left London on impulse, and Veronica paid for the ticket on the spot, but he was blocked by the mustache. "Why do you surrender?" With this intelligence capability and execution efficiency, Sandeza can be played to death by you. Just to create a joke and make everyone laugh. "Boss, do you want to teach him a lesson? The way he looks at you makes me hate him." Mona was very unhappy. She didn't know what grudges Wayne and the mustache had, but she knew that Wayne would not be wrong, and the only one who was wrong was the mustache. "Don't pay attention to him. Well, let's do this." Wayne originally planned to go there, but after thinking about it, he said with a full sense of evil, "Mona, go find the airport police. I know that group of people. The leader, the mustache, is a robber and a felon who escaped from prison twice. The police will definitely find his wanted warrant if they check it out." Mona nodded and walked quickly towards the airport police station. "Nicholas, keep talking, I'm listening." 10 minutes later, Mona returned. 20 minutes later, there was a commotion in the corner of the terminal hall, and several men in black were escorted away by police officers. Foul words. Wayne didn't hear clearly, but he heard the other party shouting "Son of the beach," which should be praising freedom. The beach represents freedom, and the son of the beach is the son of freedom. It's okay to praise a person for having a free soul and call him the son of the beach. The group boarded the private plane through the VIP channel. These days, the concept of private jets is not popular. The main reason is that airlines do not produce high-end private jets. There is no comparison and it can't arouse the consumption desire of the rich. Several companies controlled by the Lando Group do have private jets for business use. If you report the name of Austin, you can apply for a route on the same day. However, the environment of the passenger plane is very ordinary. It is restricted by the current industrial level. It is not only bumpy, but also noisy and smelly. There is no comfort at all. Wayne suspects that Loudeng doesn't want to go abroad, and it is 99% related to the poor flight attendant environment. On the plane, Nicholas sat opposite Wayne as required and talked about several difficulties of this trip. First of all, the quotation, Murphy Mining Company, a partner of Landau Group, does not have an advantage. If the order can be negotiated, then take this large order to seek cooperation with other mining companies, lower the price to purchase, and make a profit by reselling, and then a lot of pressure can be reduced in the later stage. The key is the early quotation, which cannot be reduced. In contrast, the partners of the Boswell family do not have these doubts, and the price is very low, and they can easily pass the first two rounds. But the Boswell family cannot succeed. Several mining companies in Prussia have geographical advantages, and they can save a lot of costs in transportation alone, and they will definitely advance to the last round of quotations. Luzern's geographical location is too bad. It is sandwiched between two major military powers. It is not big enough and its military strength is poor. The natural resources are scarce, the market is small, and the economy is highly dependent on foreign countries. It dare not offend Frank, let alone Prussia. At the Four Nations Summit in September, even a fool could see that Prussian soldiers were strong, rich, and powerful, and only she could walk sideways, and everyone else had to give way. This bidding must not only impress Albert Steel Company, but also convince the Luzerne authorities and even the current Grand Duke Charlotte. Nicholas analyzed, but this is not enough. Convincing the authorities can only prevent Luzerne from wavering. The final result depends on the offer. Wayne frowned and listened. He had already read the general documents and was at a loss. For this reason, he specifically asked Austin if there was a good way to break the deadlock. Austin had gauze wrapped around his head that day. Judging from his own experience, Wayne knew that he was selling misery to gain sympathy, so he did not ask about the other party's injuries. Austin did not mention that he saw Wayne from a high altitude when flying. He flew farther, and the ridicule was only for him to lose face in the end. Back to the point, Austin had no way to break the situation. The Landau family had limited political influence in Lucerburg and could not control the bidding. Failure was inevitable. He just wanted Wayne to taste the bitterness of failure. It was hard to say whether there was any personal grudge. According to Austin, this was a necessary tempering. Wayne knew that there was actually a way out. If the Landau family and the Boswell family joined forces, everyone would make money together. With the Lucerburg authorities pretending to be dead, there was indeed a 50% chance of winning the order with the price advantage. Steel making requires coal. Cheap and high-quality coal can reduce costs. Businessmen are profit-driven. With Lucerburg holding this reason, it would be difficult for Prussian mining companies to get angry even if they failed. Boswell family. Wayne's eyelids twitched, suspecting that Loudon did it on purpose. First tell him that the Boswell family wants to grab the meat in his bowl, and then arrange a task that is bound to fail for him. If he doesn't want to fail, he must learn to be patient and cooperate with the Boswell family. Then I'd rather fail. As long as I can hurt others and not benefit myself, there's nothing wrong with that. Wayne muttered quietly, unable to bear the bad smell in the air, and asked Mona, the body fragrance bag, to come closer. Mr. Wayne, are you going to cooperate with Boswell Mining Company? Nicholas's gold-rimmed glasses lit up. This is indeed a good idea. Let's talk about it later. They are business competitors. We can't change the big strategy because of a small profit. Wayne shook his head slightly. Austin thought highly of him. He was so generous that he would rather not make money than let the Boswell family lose money. Lucerburg Grand Duchy, Lucerne City, Airport. The group left the airport with their luggage and boarded the long-awaited special car. God was very kind and they did not delay at the airport for 3 days. Lucerne is a small country with rich people and a suitable climate. In addition to being a pocket kingdom, it is also known as the country of 1,000 castles because of the many ancient castles in the country. The capital Lucerne is divided into two by the Grand Canyon. The scenery is magnificent and there are many tourist attractions worth checking in. The army also likes to check in here. Every time there is a war, this place will be occupied by the enemy at the speed of light. The question is weak, and they can't resist. They can guarantee the safety of the people by simply raising their hands and surrendering. Speaking of which, the national flag of Lucerne is very similar to that of the one next door. They are all tricolor flags, cut along the dotted line, and the middle is white. The special car stopped at the Capitol Hotel, and Wayne met Frank's partner, who booked a floor to entertain the team and specially prepared a presidential suite of this era. It is said to be a partner, but in fact it is a company invested by the Landau family overseas. The original purpose was to plunder the resources of other countries. As the company was opened, the Franks were immoral, and the nature of the company gradually deviated from the original intention. Austin recovered the cost and did not care about it. Any chess piece is useful, even if it is disobedient, it can mobilize the other party with benefits. For example, this time, Frank and Prussia both want to make money from Luxembourg. If they make money, the other party cannot make money, which is equivalent to winning twice in one business. In the current environment, capitalists must have national boundaries, otherwise if the other side attacks, their own factories will not be able to be protected. Back to the topic, Wayne met with the partner, and the latter tried his best to promote the cooperation of several friendly merchants. They represent the interests of Frank. As long as they can drive Prussia away, they don't make money. Wayne was very troubled when he heard it. The list of friendly merchants included the Boswell family. Let's talk about it tomorrow. I just got off the plane and my head is still a little dizzy. Wayne did not agree on the spot. He said goodbye to his partner and returned to the presidential suite alone. Before he closed the door, he saw Mona walking in with her luggage. "What are you doing here?" "Boss, this suite has more than one bedroom." "I live here too." Mona looked aggrieved. "This is how it was arranged." "What can she do?" "She can't sleep in the corridor." "If you hadn't been laughing, I would have believed it." "Pick a room for yourself. Don't harass me at night, and don't fight with me for the shower room." Wayne tightened his collar and weighed the force value. If the other party launched a blitzkrieg, he had a strong national strength and was able to drag it into a protracted war. When winter came, the enemy's momentum was greatly reduced. He launched a counterattack, and the charge horn could blow all the way to the enemy's capital. It would be difficult to fight after that. As we all know, the street fighting around the capital has always been a tough battle. The enemy fought a desperate battle and had no way to retreat. They would often bite to death and only seek to die together. "Mona, have you contacted the Pope's envoy?" Wayne simply packed his luggage, checked the time, and went downstairs to taste the local specialties. It is said that the food in Lucerberg is good. It is Frankish cuisine. "The code has been released, and we can meet tomorrow night." Mona followed Wayne and whispered the code just now. "The other side is ready, just waiting for the meeting tomorrow night to give the angel a surprise." When the two entered the restaurant, they saw a team head on, a very strange team, more than 20 men and women, all ages can be found. Wayne ignored the men on the opposite side. He was from Windsor, and paying attention to men would be misunderstood by the other side. "I only saw the leader's sister, graceful, with a black veil covering half of her face under the bridge of her nose. Her eyes were clear as water, and she was beautiful with only half of her face exposed." When the group passed by, Wayne stopped and looked back. The view was blocked. "Mona, what are you doing?" "Boss, I'm hungry." "If you're hungry, go find something to eat." "Why are you looking for me?" Wayne rolled his eyes and raised his chin at the group of people who left. "Is it them?" "No, they didn't stay at this hotel."